Welcome into another week of Hand Raised, guys. Ole Miss 41, New Mexico State 3 at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium today. We'll talk about that if you want to. We'll talk about the Ole Miss basketball commitment of Matthew Morrell today, choosing the Rebels over Florida, Texas, Vanderbilt, Auburn. Bunch of people. We'll talk about that. If you want to talk about Matt Morrell a little bit, he was ranked number 45 by Rivals, consensus top 50 pick, one of the top commitments in school history, so we can do that, or whatever else you want to talk about. We'll get to calls here in a little bit. We're going to chat for a little bit. We're going to see how you guys are doing, and then we'll open up the phone lines. We are watching the end of LSU and Alabama right now, 1:17 to go in this one, and quite a grown man run there with 1:12 to go for LSU. They are up 46-41 if you're living under a rock right now. So
can I read you a quote that's already caught my attention?
From who?
Rich Rodriguez.
Sure. Tell us a quote from Rich Rodriguez.
Most definitely, he said about it being a two-quarterback system. Today was just a little bit different because we were running it so much. We have two starting quarterbacks.
Whoa. Matt Corral played nothing in the first half and played two series, one of which came after he got banged up.
2 for 2 for either 35 or 36 yards. I can't remember.
Okay, I got to pour a drink now if we're going to do this.
Read that quote to you again.
Yeah, go ahead. Read it again.
Rich Rodriguez asked if this is still a two-quarterback system.
Okay.
Quote, most definitely. Today was just a little bit different because we were running it so much. We have two starting quarterbacks. End quote. Matt Luke asked if he still considers this a two-quarterback system. Quote, coming down the stretch, we will need Matt. Matt is a weapon, and we can use him. End quote.
Come on, not even trying to use both quarterbacks. I mean, I'm all for the game a little bit. And look, if you want to play a game to keep everybody somewhat happy, that was very easy to do today. You could have played Matt Corral for half the freaking game today.
I'm never afraid to say that I was wrong. I'm never afraid to say that I don't know what I'm talking about. However, I think that ship has sailed. And I think if what we're doing here is, hey, Matt Corral's being a good soldier down the stretch because that's the right thing to do, cool. I think Matt's a good kid. It's in his best interest to set a good example going forward, to prove that, hey, I can be a team player. Because unless he can get a waiver next season, he's going to have to sit and support and be a team player and all of those things.
Sure.
But I don't think we're kidding anybody.
Ball game over. LSU wins 46-41. Go ahead.
Biggest win of Ed Orgeron's career.
Thanks.
Ed Orgeron's going to win a national championship. These two teams are going to play each other again. I'm in for it. And Joe Burrow is going to win the Heisman Trophy, and he won it tonight, and he deserves it.
He was exceptional. He's the most accurate passer in college football, and he was very accurate today. Didn't throw an incompletion until almost halftime, I think, something like that.
Tua was terrific, not completely healthy.
Limping pretty good right there.
Yeah. This game, give it credit. We hyped it. Everybody hyped it. It lived up to the hype. It was fantastic. It was a great game. Two great quarterbacks. If you're a team that has one of the first two picks in the draft, you're getting a stud at quarterback who is
Georgia Rebel makes a good point here. I mean, we're going to get some theater because Ohio State's going to play Joe Burrow for a national title.
Oh, yeah, I think that's probably true. You're counting out Minnesota already in the Ohio State game?
Yeah, I am. Is that okay?
That's fine.
I mean, look, Minnesota, little engine that could, got it done today. I don't think they have the athletes to beat Ohio State. I mean, I've already had to eat words once. They got Penn State today, but Bama's D is not very good. That's the secret to this season. And look, LSU's really good. Don't get me wrong. Bama's defense is average, SEC average, not even Bama average.
Yeah. And
the loss of Dylan Moses was huge. Loss of a lot of guys was huge. It's just decent. It's not good.
But the LSU offense is elite, and they don't stop. They throw it. They're not hesitant, and they've got a big time running back. They do a lot well. Kudos to them. Look, I'm a Louisiana boy. Maybe it's part of the deal here. I'm happy for the Tigers.
Yeah, Ohio State has stronger rowers of the boat.
Yeah.
They can crew a little better. But give Minnesota credit.
Oh,
I told you, it's probably a sneaky, solid Big Ten program. In Minneapolis, you can recruit a little bit. You can win there.
Go ahead and say what you said.
I said it can be kind of, it's an Ole Miss of the Big Ten in a way. I think that's right. Minnesota's having that season where, hey, you got a chance. And now, look, they also have a good coach. They might can capitalize on that. Whatever, I don't know. But it's doable. But if you're doing pretty well at Minnesota, you can win 7-8 games a year. Sure. You can beat the team you're supposed to beat. You're a better program than Illinois and some of those teams.
PJ Fleck is also proof of what I've said all along. If you can win, you can win. I know he's up there and he's going to stay up there and all that stuff. He's signed a huge deal, 7-year deal. He's super rich. But if you can win, you can win. This whole geography thing is crap.
Winning is winning, as you said.
Yes.
Because, look, yeah, PJ Fleck's winning at Minnesota. He won at Central Michigan or wherever he was before that. Yeah, he's playing better teams. He has better players. Okay, great. Move on. He'll go win somewhere else when he leaves here. He's not going to finish his career in Minneapolis.
You don't think?
I feel good about that. He's not going to be at Minnesota the next 25 years.
A lot of very specific coach stuff that's starting to. It's November. It's coaching search season, and some stuff's getting out. What do you have? An Elijah Craig single barrel?
I'm having Elijah Craig single barrel 18 years today.
Oh,
that's what we're doing.
18 year.
I offered it to Neil, and he did not do it. He went and pulled out his own. So
I'm gonna have some. I'm gonna try it a little bit. Okay. I hate to steal your good bourbon.
Just trying to be. I'm trying to finish the bottle. I usually am trying to pick stuff every week that's sort of toward the bottom. That go ahead and knock it out because I've got too many quarter full bottles in my cabinet right now. I'm trying to get done a little bit. There's not room to get more if you don't finish something. So trying to do that. What's everybody drinking on the chat? What do y'all want to talk about? We'll let you let you guide us a little bit as we're talking. A lot of Matthew Morrell content up at the site at rebelgrove.com. Neil has a column. Zach has a story. There's a Soft Verbal podcast about it as well. It's huge. There's no doubt. It's huge.
Yeah, we did a whole podcast about it. I'll summarize my part of it quickly. I think today was the biggest day of the Kermit Davis era so far, including the day that they went to the NCAA tournament.
They finally got that guy. Because look. I mean, keep me in context here. Keep me in context.
Okay. To
this point until today, Kermit Davis did a lot of the same things Andy Kennedy did. Got close on some national prospects from a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah.
Got close on some national prospects. Andy had the Johnny O'Brien, Kyle Madden season that we all know, whatever. And now after that, I think Andy changed his tune and didn't continue to try as much in that way, frankly. He got frustrated and allowed it to get to him.
He did.
But Kermit needed the shoe to drop. Needed to get the one. Got a little, we'll see what Brakefield, but as of now, gets a little unlucky. Duke gets involved. Ole Miss takes a big gun to overdo Duke in basketball recruiting right now. You lost the kid to Michigan State. You had that situation 1-on-1 against the Spartans. Today won the 1-on-4. Got Matthew Morrell, top 50 player. And as you wrote and as you're about to say, it's going to open the door. It opens the door for so many more. I remember the line you used, but essentially pass a little easier to take once it's already been blazed before that, something along those lines.
It's much easier to get on the path when the damn thing's been blazed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's harder to be the trailblazer than it is to be the guy that gets on. Do you want to go carve your path through the West, or you want to hop on the interstate? You can hop on the interstate. It's easier. And, it's going to be easier for example, Kennedy Chandler now to go to Ole Miss.
Which is who?
He's a 5-star guard from Briarcrest in Memphis. Good weekend for Ole Miss as it pertains to kids like Kennedy Chandler. The Memphis program is going kaboom, and Ole Miss just landed a 4-star top 50 guard.
The chat tells me that Liberty's on ESPNU. You're going to watch Hugh while we do this. I'm just asking.
Of all the games we could watch.
Well, what else do we have? What are other options?
Let's see what else is on.
Yeah, what do we have?
Tennessee at Kentucky.
We're going to be here, guys. Just hang in. Okay, so I get to watch a running quarterback against Tennessee. Sorry, a wide receiver.
Okay.
Georgia and Missouri.
Ugh.
Your boys, they're going 10-2. Is what Neil told us all off season. He said the bandwagon are going to go 10-2, 10-2, good 10-2.
Yeah, listen, everybody on the chat thing. If you use profanity, it gets flagged, and if we let it in, it hurts our rating with YouTube. So we're not going to. Just
a little FYI there.
FYI, there's a different word you could use instead of the word that you're using. So.
Is that what we're going to watch?
Yeah,
we're watching Georgia.
We'll flip around. I don't know. So Matt Browning is referring to a post that Zach made, and I don't know what the post is. So I'm. I don't. It's hard for me to comment on the post that I don't know what it was.
I hope everyone's watching the end of the Alabama game because we got some great crowd shots toward the end of that game. Got some really sad Bammers tonight.
Oh, I see. He said pointed out that Boise State played tonight with Tom and Channel later, trying to leverage. Yeah, that's true, Matt. One of the things that Hartwell is telling people, I see it now. I'm sorry. Well, one of the things that Hartwell has told people is that he knows Brian Harsin from Boise State and that he might be able to attract Harsin to Ole Miss. Here's the thing. And Chase and I reported this last week, and I can report it with even more strength now. Even if Ole Miss wanted to make a change in football, and I don't think today Ole Miss does, but even if it did, they don't have the money. Like, it's not there.
It would take between now and a change donors significantly stepping up. And there does not appear to be right now a path to that.
Right.
Again, we're talking $16, $17 million, the way the contract is.
I'm laughing at the thing. It's 16 point something million.
Yeah, something like that.
It's not there. Look, I've said this for a while. I wavered on it for a while because I thought the handling of the quarterback situation was odd. It always made sense to go give this staff next season, and one of two things will happen. One, they'll win, and it'll silence all this. Or two, they won't, and it'll be obvious. But either way, you'll have a 2 recruiting class base to build on. Oh, wow. Illinois wins again.
They got Wisconsin and Michigan State in the same season.
I mean, credit. They go to East Lansing and beat Michigan State. I mean, seriously, credit to them.
The money Ole Miss gets back is $8 million in 2022. It is 5 years after the sanctions are finalized. It's sitting in an escrow account, and they will get half of what they lost back in 2022. So it's 2020, $8 million in 2022 is that's the number. Something like that.
People want rumors. I'll give you a couple.
Sure.
The rumor is no matter what, Joe Moorhead likely out at Mississippi State at the end of the season, whether it's on his own volition or because they push him out. The name that is really flying around at Mississippi State is Billy Napier, who's now the coach at Louisiana Lafayette. Some people call it Louisiana. Those people are not informed. It's Louisiana Lafayette. A lot of buzz about Chad Morris being fired as early as tomorrow at Arkansas. I don't know whether they'll do it tomorrow, whether they wait a couple weeks, but that he's not going to make it. A lot of different names flying around there. I think Butch Jones, the former Tennessee coach at Alabama now, is interested. Lane Kiffin is interested.
I saw Rutgers interviewed Shiano again.
Did they?
Yeah.
Makes sense. The Gus Malzahn stuff to Arkansas is very real. It's there. It's flying around. The deal with Gus will be, can he beat Georgia? Can he beat Alabama? Auburn can't afford to pay off Gus Malzahn. For Gus to go away at Auburn, someone else has to take him, and they have to. The scenario that I painted a while back is actually a possibility, and that's Auburn pays off Chad Morris's buyout. Gus waives his buyout. Gus takes the Arkansas job.
So you think that little thing actually has some sort of teeth?
Yeah. I didn't make it up. I mean,
It's a good pod topic.
it was a good pod topic, but I knew a little something. I have some contacts.
Who's hurt? Offensive lineman?
I didn't
No.
see it. Would Lane Kiffin take the state job? Yeah, I think Lane Kiffin would take a SEC
Trey
job.
Hill from Warner Robins. That's that town that always won like the Little League World Series 2 years in a row.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think
How
so.
about that? I don't know whether Kiffin would. I don't know what Kiffin's deal is. I don't know what he's realistically waiting on or not waiting on or whatnot. Beats me. All right, I'm already bored with this game. What other games are out there?
Tennessee and Kentucky.
Wheel of
I
Fortune.
think somebody flashed Notre Dame Duke to us.
Yeah.
Liberty.
No.
Um,
Clemson at North Carolina State.
If it was close, I could have fun tonight, but
Yeah.
they wanted Matt. I mean, everybody keeps talking about these rollovers and stuff. They wanted Matt to have a full slate once the bowl ban years were over.
Yeah.
That's what all this is about. They wanted him to get through with the buyout, the bowl ban years, and then have a clean contract.
Miguel Tejada, who had a great career, wants
Oh,
to
he did.
know, explain the buyout totals. It is complicated. I'm going to let you give it a shot. We both had this conversation the other night, and it's
I know this isn't fair. I really can't right now.
No,
not all the way. I just can't.
Yeah,
I'm stuck on this.
there's a
minute.
difference between the state contract and the foundation contract, and the way that there's a clause that automatically rolled it over as long as Ole Miss was on probation.
The contract sucked when it was first put in place. Let's just keep that part real.
Yeah.
This is something that it's a retroactive problem that frankly Ole Miss doesn't have a lot of options to its disposal right now. Just doesn't, because of the way the contract was structured at the very beginning. So it's Matt Luke is going to have 4 years left on the majority of his contract or the entire contract when this year's over. So you're paying whatever you think the full buyout is. It doesn't come down 1/4. It's still whatever it is. So it's a lot of money. I mean, we're talking into the double digits here
I had
for the style.
Archie put in a request for Matt Corral. Matt Corral was not made available to
Okay.
media tonight. Is Hugh Freeze a candidate for the Arkansas job? No. No, he's not.
No way.
Nope. Look, Arkansas's got a decision to make. I mean, here's the thing, guys, and Chase and everybody. It's fascinating.
Okay.
For the longest amount of time, we all just talked about money like it was monopoly money with the SEC. I did it. I've heard you do it. I've seen other people do it. Attendance is down everywhere.
People made a lot of, in hindsight, that none of us saw, dumb decisions when the money first started.
Yeah.
Expanding the stadiums in ways that, frankly, it's not profitable right now. If every school had its druthers to do over again, they would lower the amount of people. You got a problem?
No, I'm going to try your Elijah
Oh,
Craig.
okay.
I'm going to give it a shot. See what
There
happens.
is, they would lower the amount of people, and they would add more premium seating and more comfortable seating. They put chair backs all over the stadium. That's what people would do right now. Oh, yeah, but the attendance was better today than I thought. I asked a few people to give some guesses. They guessed somewhere between 25 and 28,000 was what I heard. Something like that. I don't know. It was more than 15. No doubt about that. They got, to their credit, this is not a shot. They gave a lot away. They did their best to put as many in there as they could put. So
I don't know what Arkansas will do. To conclude this part, they owe him roughly $10 million. Then you have to hire the next guy. And this league, I don't know if you guys have noticed, is a nightmare right now. It's a very good league. It's a very tough division. If you're Arkansas, who do you go get? I think they're waiting to see what happens with the Malzahn thing. I think they'd love to do that. He makes sense there. That's about it.
we'll take calls in a second. We'll do that. Memphis Thoughts on the penny deal? We keep getting asked that. It's really a bold strategy because they're not saying that he did not pay Wiseman's family.
It's not bold.
He $11,500 to Wiseman's family to move from Nashville to Memphis in 2017, I believe. He gave $1 million in 2007 that made him a booster for the University of Memphis. And he says that he's helped tons of kids in the community regardless of their athletic ability, and that he can prove that, and that should show. It's basically the North Carolina ruling. He's trying to argue like North Carolina gave free classes to everybody. He's arguing he gave money to everybody and that it did not matter what the situation was. I'll tell you an interesting take on this, though. I've read a lot of – or not an interesting take, kind of a dumb take, frankly. I've read a lot of people here. Calkins wrote what I expected Calkins to write. Some other national people kind of wrote what I thought they would write. The interesting one, because we praise this guy a lot for a lot of his columns and interesting stories, Greg Doyle put like 1,000 words into this story today. Works for the Indianapolis paper. I don't really understand how that factors in whatsoever. Really heavily criticizing the NCAA and telling them just to let him play.
Really?
Yeah. Which Doyle usually is a curmudgeon and just a complete like fire and brimstone thing about everything. And no, he was very let the kid play.
Are you ever surprised?
By what?
The national media is the biggest collection of boobs. They're so selective in what they attack and what they don't attack. By any standard, Penny Hardaway was a Memphis booster in 2017. He was also lobbying for the Memphis job, was actually working behind the scenes to get Tubby Smith fired. James Wiseman was, by all accounts, everyone knew it, an elite prospect. He moves him to play for his AAU team. He signs with Memphis, and last night the NCAA puts out a statement that says he is likely ineligible at Memphis. Why is this complicated? If you want to argue that kids deserve to be paid, I'm with you. I agree. But that's not the argument. The argument is not whether James Wiseman should be able to cash in on his value as a player, as a college player. The argument is he at Memphis because he owed Penny Hardaway? James Wiseman could have gone anywhere. Name your school. Pick a school, any school. I don't care. He could go there. John Calipari would have taken James Wiseman's call on National Signing Day and figured it out. Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, Sean Miller, whoever the cat is at Oregon. I don't know. Name a school. Whatever.
Yeah, sure.
I just find it to be disingenuous. Here's the thing where I don't think it's a bold move. I think it's a stupid move. You're going to take the NCAA to court where the NCAA can now subpoena you and they can have their attorneys look up your credit card records, your phone records, your bank records. If I put a gun to your head and made you bet one way or the other, is James Wiseman the only player on that roster that Penny Hardaway has bought? Paid for?
Yeah, I would say no. I mean, the two things that are interesting. One, Blue Shirt makes a good point here. They cleared him in May and have changed their minds.
Because something else
I do have a problem with that until they point it out. You know what I mean? That's fine. Point it out. But at this point, it looks like you simply go, hey, we just decided, never mind. And you're dealing with a school that, frankly, kind of like Ole Miss right now, thinks they get treated a different way than a lot of other teams, a lot of other schools. Well, but involving the court is what is so dumb, it is beyond comprehension. If you're going to play him, you don't need an injunction. Just play him. They can't come take him off the court.
Penny has made a lot of enemies, and he has kind of gone above and beyond a little. He's kind of the basketball version of Hugh Freeze. Nobody was going to say anything when Penny Hardaway got DJ Jeffries, when he gets Chris Moore. But when you go into Florida and you go into California and you go into Texas and you start landing those players and you talk a big game about it, you ruffle some feathers. So, we'll see. I'm loading the coordinator video as we speak, by the way, in case people wonder what I'm doing. I'm putting that in.
You'll be able to see that at rebelgrove.com or YouTube or wherever you want to.
Part of the Rivals Network.
Yeah. It's very cheap to join. You should do that.
You should.
It's like less than a meal all around town. No free advertising, but you can pick your meal, and it's probably cheaper. Except for the Oxford Exxon. It's $4.99 for a lunch specials. 2 sides of bread, 32-ounce drink. 49-cent bottomless refills. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I'm getting screenshots where Matt Corral liked a tweet about the transfer portal. However, I checked his Twitter, and it's not there, so I'm a little skeptical to put too much into that. I don't know. Maybe he unliked it. Maybe he didn't. I don't know.
I'm sure Matt's frustrated.
I would be frustrated.
I mean, come on. My full anticipation is that Matt Corral will transfer at the end of this semester. He's going to play 2 more games or be there for 2 more games. He's going to do the right thing. He's going to finish the season. Matt's a good kid. He is. He's a good kid. This did not go the way that anyone thought it would go. He has to be bitterly disappointed in the way that it's played out. And I fully anticipate that he will leave at the end of the season. In fact, I would put money on one particular school.
Clemson will get back in the playoff now.
Yeah, it would not be Clemson that I would pick, by the way, for his transfer.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
We're watching Clemson, and I was making a comment as we were. They'll be in.
Clemson's going to be in. So it's going to be LSU.
Yeah. Ohio State.
Clemson. Well, you're assuming Ohio State, the winner of the Big Ten.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Clemson and who? Alabama?
A one-loss Pac-12 team. They get the title thing over Alabama.
This has the funny feeling of this is the year that Auburn beats Alabama.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of get that funny feeling. Like Tua's hurt. And I got to tell you, if I'm Tua, I'm starting to think about the future.
Somebody says Georgia, if they win out, it would still take some help.
But Georgia winning out would mean beating LSU, and that would put them in. Because winning out, they're going to play LSU in Atlanta.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, never mind. They'd be in then if they did that.
Yeah.
And no, I haven't heard Washington State for Matt. Everybody keeps asking that.
Nope, I have not heard that.
Nothing about Washington State.
Different Pac-12 team.
He does like him some transfer quarterbacks, though.
He does. He's had success with them.
Oh, Baylor's still undefeated. Came back, knocked off TCU today.
3 overtimes or 2 overtimes?
3.
3 overtimes.
I'll tell you an interesting stat, too. You mentioned Kansas State lost to Texas today. First time in series history that Texas has beaten Kansas State 3 times in a row.
Really?
Played since 1913.
What's the proof on that right there? That's good stuff. It's a little.
It is 18 years now.
It's a little stronger than the Four Roses single barrel.
It's only 90.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
But pretty complex for a 90. A lot of flavor there.
Clemson just scored. I'm already bored with this game.
You can't find anything. You want to take some calls?
Yeah, let's take calls.
All right. They're not going to be as drunk tonight. I don't think, at least.
I might be there by the time we finish this a little bit.
It's only 6:50. Are we ordering in dinner? Like, what's the deal here? I know you don't eat. Never mind. You had a turkey stick earlier.
I've had a protein bar and a turkey jerky.
Is that really it?
That's it.
Okay.
Georgia's up 10-0. Let's see what's happening in the Tennessee-Kentucky showdown. No score. 4th and 1. Kentucky's got the ball at the Tennessee 38, and they get the first down. How exciting.
Pumped up.
It just means more. Look at that.
Where's the girl on the beach when we need her?
Nicholas says Oregon would make some sense. It would, Nicholas. It really would.
What would make sense?
Oregon.
Think so?
For Matt Corral. That would make sense.
Yeah, hold on. Hold on a second, caller. Let me plug you in. Turn the computer down for me, please.
Turn your computer down and welcome, caller, into Hand Raise, guys. How are you?
What's going on?
What's going on? Who is this?
This is Nicholas Brazel. They call me Snoop.
What's up, Snoop?
Oh, man, just sitting here in Batesville here, just trying to figure out our 2-quarterback system.
I don't.
Haven't
Wait, no,
figured
it is a 2-quarterback system.
Nick.
The OC said so.
Nick, it's a 1-quarterback
Oh,
system.
excuse me. Our 2-quarterback system where one plays 3 plays in the second half. Excuse me.
Okay, that system. Gotcha.
Yeah, this would have never happened with my good friend Houston. Honestly, I kind of want Houston back now.
He would come back.
Did Nick ever get the picture made with Houston by the horse at the ranch, or was that just Uriah Grant that got remember the picture?
Oh, I do remember that picture.
Yeah. I think it was just Uriah.
No, I actually sat on the horse. I sat on the horse.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the picture made.
I bet you did, Nick.
But no. Yeah, it's been a hard life over here, Hugh kind of pissed me off, so I had to leave.
Back for Pro Day like 8 years in a row.
I come back every year. It's just nostalgia at this point.
Where are you now? Saskatchewan, Edmonton, Calgary?
No. I'm back in Batesville.
Mm.
I'm back in Batesville over here at the tire plant.
Gotcha.
It's a hard life.
I understand. Yeah, anything else?
Thank y'all for taking
Absolutely.
this call.
No problem.
That's it.
All right. Jump right back in. Hold on 1 second, caller.
Oh, there's a lot of.
Who we got?
Hey, it's Melissa.
Hey, Melissa. How are you?
Hey, Melissa.
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Where are you
We're
calling
awesome.
from?
Madison.
Okay. Assuming you didn't go to the game today?
Hell yeah, damn right.
Well, you didn't get back in already unless you left like after the first quarter.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we should have won this game and we did. So, hallelujah.
What'd you think?
It's a easy win and we should have won it and we did. So why should I be sad about that? But
You shouldn't. It's a big win. Anytime you beat New Mexico State, it's a cause for celebration. What are you gonna celebrate with tonight?
my husband.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yeah, no doubt. But anyway, hotty toddy.
Absolutely.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
We love you
Appreciate
too,
it,
Melissa. It was an honest answer.
Hey,
Give her credit.
I hadn't.
I respect the answer.
You're fine with the honest answer, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
She's going to celebrate with the husband.
Okay.
So, from the sounds of it, it's probably a good night to be Melissa's husband.
You think so?
I'm just thinking out loud.
Well, you don't know what that meant.
I mean, I don't know what it meant, but I have an imagination.
Who we got, caller?
Hey, it's Laura Buck.
Oh, hey, Lowell. How are you doing?
I'm great. Hey, I just want to know, so obviously we're going with the ground attack. I mean, is this going to impact our recruiting in terms of receivers? And are we going to lose receivers? Or receivers going to go in the transfer portal?
Those are two different questions. So, are they going to lose receivers on the recruiting trail this year? My guess is no. Are receivers going to go into the transfer portal? I think that's certainly possible. I mean, if you're a receiver that came to Ole Miss thinking it was going to be this wide open passing attack, it's not that anymore. And so, if that's not what you want to do, then I think you have cause for concern. And I don't want to be inflammatory here. I really don't. But, I mean, I've heard rumblings of discontent as it pertains to people on the offensive side of the ball. How much of that can be sort of massaged and get kids to buy back in? I'm sure some of it. How much of that is not recoverable? I'm sure some of it. It's the one thing when people say, well, you said before the season this was a bill-paying year and that 5-7, 4-8 was possible. I did. The one thing that I didn't see coming was I didn't see them just bailing on Matt Corral at the end of September.
Totally bailing.
I didn't see that, and so that when people say, "Well, you're being contradictory," I understand why they're saying that about me, and I mean,
the offense has changed. It has totally changed. It was never going to be this way if Corral was quarterback. Which, look, I am totally fine if they're going to, and they decided last week, or that this is the way they're going. I get it. I'm fine with it. But all these guys that came here for a certain type of system, now they've got to start asking themselves, is this what I want to do? Because as a receiver going down the field and blocking 90% of the time, that's not fun. That's not fun. And I'll tell you, the offense isn't fun. Is it efficient against teams like we play tonight? Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
It will work. But
it'll beat
bad
teams.
You can't do that against it. Yeah, you can't do that against LSU next week.
Well, that
they
was
got too much speed to the outside.
Chase and I were in here, and just a little behind the scenes, right? Chase comes over first part of the third quarter, and we're flipping between Ole Miss and the Alabama LSU game, of course, like anybody else, and we're putting some stuff together, and we turned to the Ole Miss game for a couple series, and they're talking about two things that drove us insane. Like we're both like wanting to throw stuff at the television. One, this narrative that the two quarterbacks get along so well. It's utter crap. It's just crap. They like each other fine, but this Matt Corral's not happy. And
no,
you know,
can tell that.
Yeah, so I'm tired of hearing that. That's that SEC network propaganda. It just means more crap.
He's being a good soldier, and frankly, he gets a little bad rap by not being Plumlee.
Yeah. And then the other thing is this, and I hate when I feel like I rip on the kid, and I'm not trying to rip on the kid. He's a good kid, Plumlee. He's a great story. He's I mean, we would all be thrilled for that to be our son or whatnot, right? And that's fair.
He or Ely is the most dynamic player on the team with the ball in his hands, period.
But so much of Plumlee's damage this year has been done against bad teams with his feet. And when they play good teams,
absolutely,
Auburn, Texas A&M, they negate him.
Well, look, it's just as ineffective potentially against really good teams as Longo's system was, just in a different way.
Absolutely.
We're seeing a very similar thing from an outcome standpoint.
That's a great point.
We're just seeing it in a completely different structure. I mean, that's the thing. It is amazing the tone, and I don't necessarily mean. Go ahead.
And doesn't that goes back to, in terms of what Rich Rod believes in, run first, which I cannot tell you how many times. How many times have we run on first down tonight? Every first down?
I mean,
probably?
it's been a lot.
And it was a lot. And the same way with Longo. I mean, Longo feasted on, throwing on first downs or outs or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But the problem is that we have got all these guys that fit one system, and now we're wanting to do this run offense, and the guys aren't there. And Matt Luke doesn't have time to switch in the middle. I mean, it is a conundrum. It really is. He's got a bunch of guys that fit one system, and they're trying to do a different system. I like Plumlee, the kid. I think he's a great leader, like you said, Neil. If he was if he was my son, I would be so proud of him.
Sure,
all that, but
sure, of course.
My goodness, I mean, but he.
Well, I'll give you an example.
He is limited. He's limited. He is so limited in what he can do.
I'll give you an example.
He's just limited.
We were watching LSU Alabama and Joe Burrow, two different drives, right, with basically the season and the Heisman and everything on the line, and those sons of bitches are throwing the ball down the middle of the field. I mean, they're going vertical. And you can love LSU, you can hate LSU, you can whatever you want with LSU, but by God, that offense is electric to watch. And they use the entire field. And Chase pulled up this stat that 65, 67, I can't remember what percent, whatever, it doesn't matter. A large percentage of their offense is between the hash marks. They're using the entire field. And Ole Miss does not use the middle of the field. I sarcastically said to Chase, is that legal? Can you do that?
One pass tonight against New Mexico State. One pass went to our tight end over the middle of the field. That was the only one I remember. That's it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Thanks for the call.
It's Groundhog Day right now. I mean, it's But it's what it is. It is what it is. I know it's a dumb statement, but it is.
It is.
It's amazing how, and again, whatever. I mean, it might be fine. It might be fine. I don't know. It's amazing how the tenor of this season has changed over one ankle. Because it has. Matt Corral doesn't get hurt, and this thing doesn't look like this, my opinion. So, I don't know. Jumping back into the line, give me 1 second, caller, to get you in. Who we got?
This is PC Rebel. I've been asking for this in the chat, so I'm just going to do it myself. Mama, Coach Saban did lunch today. I don't know what to do myself. I kicked the dog and the cat.
Oh, it's a bad night in Alabama. Bad night in Alabama. Women and dogs are in danger tonight. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, it's bad down there. I mean, it's kind of one of those saving graces. As bad as our season is, we can kind of enjoy the misery of others.
So you went to the game today?
Oh, yeah, went to the game. We were actually standing in front of the Pavilion. I was with my son, and we were going to have him throw the football. He's 5. And some guy walks up and goes, "Hey, since I see it's you and your boy, here's some field passes." And I looked at him, and I'm like, I'm here with my wife, too. She's right around the corner. I'm like, giving somebody else with a kid, and as soon as he walked away, I went, "Damn it! I should have just taken those and told my wife to go back to the tent. Could have been on the field to watch such a wonderful, wonderful game."
I'm trying not to be like super negative, looking down the road and stuff. If it works, great, but if it doesn't work. So you've run off Grant Tisdale and now Matt Corral to run this off. How would you help me here, PC? And I'm gonna ask Chase the same thing. This is the question I've been asking people for the last week. How would you describe Ole Miss's offense if you had to label it? All sarcasm aside, no sarcastic answers allowed. What would you call it? Would you call it a veer? What would you call it?
I really don't know what I would call it. Imagine if you're playing a PlayStation game of NCAA football and you just jump from playbook to playbook and said, "Ooh, this looks like fun. I want to try this." You know, here's the flying V. Let's go try this. I mean, I don't know.
What'd you estimate the crowd at tonight?
Empty. I mean, I looked around. We didn't show up till second quarter maybe, and I was more excited about walking in and buying a beer because we weren't able to make the Texas A&M game. I walked in, I was like, "Cool, I get a beer." I'm sitting up on Hemingway, and I've got a beer, and somebody in my row snuck in a flask anyway. But I was just happy to have a beer, and that was kind of the highlight.
You know what? I got one beer at the Pavilion last night, and it totally enhanced my experience.
Did it really?
It did.
You get in trouble?
It does.
Nobody say anything to you?
No,
It's
people
cold,
looked at me
and
funny.
I was fine.
People looked at me funny. I went and got one Coors Light, and I nursed it through the better part of half of a game, and it was nice.
It added something for you.
It did.
I'll tell you, the interesting thing here.
Before you say
Yeah, go
that, since I'm being negative, in all seriousness, adding beer and whatever else they added to the Pavilion has turned that place into an absolute palace for a basketball game. It is awesome. Ole Miss, as much as I criticize Ole Miss did a fantastic job on the Pavilion. It is absolutely perfect for a college basketball game in Oxford, Mississippi.
It's the comment that I make, and Ole Miss has a great campus, so it's not about the campus. It's just about what Tad Smith was. I always said it doesn't feel like you're on Ole Miss's campus when you're in the Pavilion, and it's a huge compliment. It's like, oh, I'm at a basketball game in an urban area or in a city or something. It does not feel like you're on campus.
They built an NBA light arena, and it is now that you can have a beer or whatnot. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Kudos to them. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, a couple games ago, we parked over by the Tad Pad, and I had my 5-year-old son, and he needed to go to the bathroom. So everybody else is unloading the car, and I take him into the Tad Pad because it's unlocked, and we go down these steps, and he goes, "Daddy, why do we have to go down these steps to get to a bathroom?" And I said, "Because that's how the building was made. And he goes, I don't like this building. And I'm like, this sounds like my childhood 30-something years ago.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
And it was a spaceship, and they still have not come and pick that thing up.
It's really
on the
expensive to
podcast
tear
for
it
years.
down. I mean, I know we can make 1,000 jokes, but it really is. It's very expensive to tear it down, and they just haven't done it to this point. But anyway, appreciate the call.
I mean, how expensive is how expensive is some kindling and a little lighter fluid?
Well, that's.
I think it requires
the environmental agencies might have some issues there, but hey, you never know. So.
Oh, when have we not made the environmental?
Maybe they should. Maybe they should talk to some of the old Fidelts about. Just, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, it just happened to catch on fire. Whoops.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're just going to step off campus for a couple of years. It's the 90s. Nobody has camera phones. There's no eye in the sky anywhere. It just caught fire on its own. We were all across the county. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Be safe. Headed back.
Thank y'all
Appreciate
so
it,
much
bud.
for
Absolutely.
Kentucky up 14-0.
I'll get to calls in a second. I found this funny, though. So I just pulled up Plumlee's Pro Football Focus stuff, and this probably doesn't include tonight, so everybody keep that into account.
Okay.
He's had a lot of dump-offs over the middle that have been right at the line of scrimmage. He's thrown 23 of those this year, and obviously he's blistered the right side of the field because of the rollout way. This is the more alarming thing from Plumlee for me when I actually look at the concrete numbers here, is that, in golf, you always try to have a one-way miss, so you take half the course out, meaning if you're going to have a problem, it's only on this side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You take away that it's going everywhere. You start playing military golf, you got a problem. Well, football, like Brady does with LSU and a lot of other people, it's the opposite. It's whole field. You get 53 yards, whatever it is. Why don't you use all of it? Plumlee's passes between the line of scrimmage and 20 yards down the field to the left side this season, 5. He's thrown 5 passes to the left side of the field under 20 yards, meaning no deep balls. He's thrown 12 of those. But 0 to 20 yards outside the hash on the left side, only 5 throws. You've as an offensive coordinator, you've eliminated in the passing game an entire side of the field. Well, I can defend half,
Yeah.
I can defend middle over. Looking at that here, I mean, I'm amazed by this. Apparently, South Carolina is struggling with Appalachian State.
I just turned it
Oh,
on.
okay. 6-3, second quarter, though.
Boom and the boys up 6-3. App State getting ready to try to tie it. Chandler Staten getting ready to try a field goal. A 47-yard attempt.
Okay, I had to take one of those just because.
Looks like he made it. We're tied in Columbia.
Are we?
Yep, 6-6.
Hold on one second.
Cut it off mute.
All right, who we got?
Hey, Chase, it's Trip, Sam, and Tyler in Memphis. How y'all doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Oh, kind of is what it is.
What are you going to talk about?
So, well, first of all, we made an excellent pot of gumbo tonight.
Okay.
Did all that.
What was in
Had
it?
the game on.
Well, hold on. What's in it?
Yeah, what's in your gumbo?
We did duck gumbo tonight, and then we threw in some shrimp and some chicken there at the last minute. So it was kind of a little bit of a smorgasbord.
Neil made a weird face there. What happened?
Yeah, duck and shrimp together?
If it's
Yeah, man,
gumbo,
all
just
of
throw
it.
whatever in
It
there.
worked
What
great,
difference does
Neil.
it make?
It worked great.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, I saw y'all's post on Corral, on the board, and that kind of seems to make a lot of sense in the context of things. I can't say that I'm surprised. I don't know if y'all could expound on that a little bit more.
Well, I mean, if you're Matt, why would you risk staying at this point?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the conclusion that we came to as well, just sitting here, from our perspective. And, he's going to go. You have Ashford and Plumlee next year. It doesn't, at this point, it doesn't make any sense for him to stay almost.
Or even beyond that, just at least check some options. I mean,
Hey.
you got 3 years left after this year.
Yeah. Hey, Chase, this is Sam. I post on the board. I follow it a lot. I post very rarely. I find myself when Neil comes out with stuff like Weston or Griffith's back next year, I find myself that's the only time I post, and I take a shot at Neil.
Okay.
Neil probably thinks I'm quite the a-hole. But I have one thing I want to expound on that y'all talked about last week.
Sure.
And it is when you say I'm in agreement that we or that the coaches are not going to go with Ashford as a true freshman when your job is on the line. I completely agree with that. However, I want to know what is the difference in that and when Gus goes with – now, I know Bo Nix is a borderline 5-star. I just want to know what the difference is in that when he goes with a true freshman that's a 4-star, borderline 5-star. What's the difference in that and if they went with Ashford next year?
Well, I can't speak to what the situation is with Bo Nix. I can tell you that when you ask people around the Ole Miss program about Ashford, they talk him down. They tell you, hey,
Okay.
He's got a lot to learn. He's got the Ole Miss staff, and this is obvious in who gets snaps, right? The Ole Miss staff is in love with John Rice Plumlee. They are the national narrative that this is the quarterback is coming straight from the Ole Miss staff.
Okay.
These national people, when I say national, I mean SEC Network, whoever shows up to call a game. Who called the game today? It was Dave Neal.
Dave Neal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They tell you it's Dave Neal.
So those guys on Friday sit down with the coaching staffs. They get some time, and they need it because they have 3.5, 4 hours to kill. In a case like this where the game's going to be a blowout, they've got to talk for 4 hours. Whether I'll tell all the jokes in the world, they've got to fill that time, and they need content. So they get 30 minutes to an hour with the coaching staff. And this Plumlee, as the face of the program stuff, is coming straight from the coaching staff. The media.
So they are.
So
they are hitching their wagons, win, lose, or draw. They are going with Plumlee from here on out.
Yes.
They run to the ground, or they.
Yeah, let's think about this for a minute. Dave Neal, Taylor Zarzer, Cole Kubelik, Jordan Rogers. Those people don't give a damn who Ole Miss's quarterback is. I mean, is that fair?
Yes, no, that is fair.
So,
full disclosure, we didn't listen to much of their broadcast today.
Yeah.
We were watching the varsity game on the TV for lack of a better term.
So but that's my point. So let's say the Friday before the Alabama game, Gary Danielson and whoever it is that's doing that call with him, Nestler. Yeah, they don't care who Ole Miss's quarterback is. I don't mean that in a negative way. They just don't care. So when they sit down with Matt Luke and them, and they're like, hey, so tell us, Plumlee's going tomorrow. Tell us about this kid. All the background that they get is from Ole Miss.
Okay.
And so,
That's fair enough.
I mean, Taylor's a good Taylor's a good friend of mine. I know Cole Kubelik and all those guys. When they don't, I mean, if Matt Luke and Rich Rodriguez and company said, hey, listen, this kid's the guy, but our future is Dent or Ashford.
They're tied to them.
Yeah,
and they're going to roll with it.
Yeah, they're gonna repeat whatever the coaches say. That's just easy for them.
It's a party line.
Absolutely,
it's a party line. That's being fed.
Yeah, and they reiterate it because that's the easy thing for them to do.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's fine. I just, when you were talking about not wanting to hitch your wagons to a freshman last week, that was just the first thing that popped in my head. Was I was thinking, well, Gus, year in and year out, is going to coach with his name on the line until he wins another.
Well, I mean, Ole Miss is hitching its wagon to a freshman, the least experienced of the ones they had coming in, because Plumlee didn't get here until June. Corral had a year under his belt. Tisdale had a spring.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just saying, I was listening to Neil talk about not wanting to hitch your wagons to a freshman, and that was the first thing that came to my mind was, well, they're going with Bo Nix instead of Gatewood.
Yeah. No, and it's a fair question. I might not have expressed it correctly. I don't know. Maybe there was too much bourbon in my system at the time.
No, you were. That was just what came to my head was that, well, you don't want to hitch your wagon to a freshman, and that was the first thing. Well, hell, Gus came out doing the same thing this year.
Yeah.
Well, it may pay off, it may not.
Yeah. Enjoy the Gunboat, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks. Y'all take it easy.
South Carolina, App State, 6-6.
6-6 is exciting.
But I did not realize that. I really thought it was more one of those deals where it was middle of the field. But there has been a lot of dumps offs. It's just a left side for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I mean, I'm not surprised at it now that you tell me.
Who we got on the line?
Hey, Marv Merchants.
Hey, Marv. How are
Marv,
you?
what's up?
Good, man. Good. Just
what are you pouring?
settling down, and that's what I was going to ask you. I haven't poured anything yet. I was trying to see what y'all were drinking. I just tuned in. I was going to see if I can match you.
I've got an Elijah Craig 18-year in front of me. Single barrel. Neil
No, I
is
don't
drinking.
have that. Yeah.
You might have this though. Neil's drinking a normal Four Roses single barrel, one of the best bottles you can get under $45.
It's really good.
It's always good. Yeah. No, it's
I know a lot of people cut their teeth on the single barrels, but
it is. I like the single barrel better than the small batch by far. It's my favorite of those two.
Yeah. I agree with that. I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
If y'all have been saying, the hitching your horse or hitching your cart or whatever on Plumlee, have they already sat down and had the discussion or the decision that, hey, if you're our guy, you've got to give up baseball?
To my knowledge, no.
I don't think that's on the table. He wants to play baseball. They're not going to tell him he can't play baseball. The way I've been interpreted this from people around Plumlee and from the baseball people is that he's going to have every opportunity to be a normal player in the spring. And here's the thing. I wrote about this a couple weeks ago. I mean, I'm sure you read it. People that are maybe on our chat that are not subscribers, you should be, but you might not have seen it. I think he has a chance to play. He's got to show he can hit, but Ole Miss doesn't have returning outfielders right now. It's banking on a couple guys who have not really taken that next step. I think Plumlee's ahead of Ely, and I think that given the right circumstance, Plumlee has a chance to play. Not saying he's going to be a starter on opening day, but I do think over the course of
there's a role.
Yeah, over the course of the season, he has a chance to at least get into the conversation. And that brings in a great question that I'm going to be fascinated to see how he handles it, because he needs to keep working in football. He needs spring practice from a football standpoint, from an arm standpoint, from getting mechanically better as a passer, because throwing a football and throwing a baseball is not the same thing. There's some things that, because of his baseball ability, that has hampered his football development simply from the standpoint of the way his arm is, the way his arm angles are, and all those type of things. And the only way to get them 100% football related is to throw the football. And I do wonder a little bit how baseball could impede that. I don't have an answer for that. But I think that if he was to give it his complete best chance, I do think he would play some baseball for Ole Miss this spring. So I'm fascinated. I mean,
if that is, go ahead.
If you say it's going to be a test for the two staffs to work this thing out. I mean, I'm just being honest here. Neil's laughing, but
because I know how this goes.
I just don't see how you can be a successful
how's it go?
D1 quarterback. I don't know.
It's fine if he's the fifth outfielder.
Yeah. What is the third outfielder?
It's not fine. Mike's going to need him out there at baseball, as he should. I mean, if John Rice Plumlee is hitting eighth and playing center field for Ole Miss night after night after night, Mike doesn't want him running around a football field in the spring and somebody banging into his knee, or him throwing 300 balls in a practice when he needs him making the throw from center field to third to get a key out on Friday night against Arkansas.
I don't know. It's like y'all are saying. Like, you love the kid as a person. You love the story, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't. I don't know. Follow-up question. What happens first? Ole Miss goes to a bowl game, or basketball makes the Sweet 16?
Basketball makes the Sweet 16.
Fair enough. All right, last one.
Yeah,
Neil.
go ahead.
18-pound Packer brisket. What time do I put it on tonight?
Ooh. What's your cooking setup?
Kamado Joe XL, the Big Joe. So essential to your XL green egg.
Yeah. So you're going to cook it at about 225?
Yeah, 225, 240.
Yeah, you're going to need 18 pounds. You're going to need a good 9 to 12 hours.
That's what I was counting on. So I was going to make a drink, start a fire, and watch the rest of the show. Enjoy it. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, the big thing on a brisket is that you're going to hit that. You're going to hit a wall.
Let's stall.
Where you're so tempted to raise your temperature, just don't, and let it get past that. It hits that wall at about.
That's where it's got to really melt the fat and stuff, right? That's
it gets to about
Exactly.
175 internal, and you think, man, it just stays there forever, and it will, but you just got to leave it alone because you want it to get to 195-ish internal before you take it off, and it just takes a good no less than 9 hours and up to 12.
All right, guys. Enjoy it.
I love brisket, man.
Really well done brisket's as good as anything.
Oh.
Anywhere less than that, and brisket becomes one of the worst cuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
There's no middle ground on brisket. It sucks or it's fantastic.
I've done a brisket where it was awful, and I've done some briskets where they were just phenomenal.
Really?
Where Carson was like, "Oh, Dad, you're the best."
Is there a size preference on that?
No, it's just about internal temperature, and take your time and keep it low and keep it slow and don't rush it.
Yeah. Who we got on the phone?
Hey, this is Melissa's husband.
Oh.
Hey. Why are you calling us?
Hey. I just got one of those Peloton virtual high fives.
Oh, good for you.
Just want to say I talked to Steve Robertson, and he had information that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh, really?
Okay, well.
Something tells me that wasn't really Allison's husband.
I think there might have been a little drinking involved there with that call. It's just a possibility there. Who's on the line?
Dr. Joe.
Okay, what's up, doctor?
I just wanted to say I've been the apathetic fan for the day.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
I have. We got up this morning. We worked out at the orange-colored fitness thing, and we came home, took a shower, went to the square, had a great pizza at St. Leo, and a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And didn't go to the game.
You're not the only one. I saw some Grove photos during the game, and it was pretty packed with people walking around, throwing some footballs, and watching LSU and Alabama. The Grove was not empty at that point.
We wound up going to the Graduate, and the power went out or something, and we didn't watch the game, and we left and came back to our condo and watched the end of it. I have Wisconsin and Alabama in a football pool, and Alabama, of course, disappointed me, and Wisconsin didn't. But, one waves to children in a hospital, and one steals from children in a hospital. So, I got that going for me.
Iowa covered the line.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Sweet.
What pizza did you get at St. Leo before you go?
We did prosciutto, arugula, and put an egg on top of it.
Okay.
Oh.
Y'all do egg on pizza?
No, absolutely not.
No, it's not my thing.
It's so good. I like the richness of it. Anyway,
yeah.
I just want to say thanks, guys. But I've been the apathetic fan, and Neil kind of said about it, and we've had season tickets for 20 years. This is the first year we didn't do it. We're still baseball fans, but it's we're kind of denigrating into the possibility of this just isn't good.
I know. I mean, you're not alone, so I understand.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Anyway, hey, I appreciate everything, guys. And I'm going to sit here and enjoy the rest of this bottle of Chardonnay that I have, and have a good evening.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, St. Leo pizza is definitely that good.
It's
worth
really
it.
good. Yeah.
There's several. The burrata and supersada is my favorite, but
yeah, that is good.
Take your pick. That's from the live chat, by the way, people.
Yeah, I like burrata.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I completely lost train of thought there for a second. I don't know why. So we're okay.
Laura makes this dish with broccolini and burrata that is phenomenal.
Broccolini and burrata?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good. You wouldn't necessarily think it, but it's fantastic.
I do not put ketchup on that pizza at St. Leo. It's one kind of pizza. Put ketchup on.
In fairness to you, you've been very consistent with this. It's a thin crust
meat lovers.
Pizza Hut meat lovers.
That's it. It's the only one.
Which, frankly, is so salty that I can get it. I wouldn't do it, but I understand why you would.
The meat lovers?
It's so salty.
Oh, really? You
Yeah.
think it's salty?
Oh, my God.
I trend toward...
It has no contrast. It's just meat.
It's different kinds.
Yeah, but it's a very salty...
That's a good point. St. Leo may not have ketchup.
Probably not, Avery.
Do you think they have ketchup?
I think St. Louis is one of those places where you don't ask for extra stuff.
Okay, that's not the question.
Do they have ketchup there? Ooh.
I'm going to ask. Go ahead.
That is a good idea. It's a good question. I don't know. Probably they have it, but you would offend the chef if you asked for it.
Phone lines open if anybody would like to talk.
I saw this thing this morning. I asked Laura, I'd found the video. It was for how to do a turkey, because we're getting close to Thanksgiving, obviously. You spatchcock the turkey, you brine it, you dry brine it for a day and a half. And it only cooks for like an hour. It looked fantastic. I have not heard any word on Tisdale. I don't think it's anything serious.
You don't think what now? Oh,
Tariqus Tisdale. I don't think it's a serious injury.
You don't?
No.
Did he come back in?
I'm not sure.
Who are we talking to?
Hey, this is Mark. I live in D.C.
Oh, okay.
Long time listener, obviously first time caller. Watched all of the game today. I've had two TVs on. Watched Alabama, Ole Miss. I actually want to talk about Arkansas.
Sure. Neil Neil didn't wear his polo today. He's a Fairweather fan. Didn't put it on. Now that they're playing Western Kentucky and got behind, he only did it last week.
Well, I mean, it was nothing, and it's like 37, and holy crap, they are just atrocious. I mean, I get it; they probably quit, but I mean, there's no way Chad Morris is not fired like Monday.
Yeah, I think he's. I don't know if it's Monday. It might be tomorrow. Hell, it might be tonight. Seriously.
Yeah.
But he's not coaching next season. It's in their economic interest to go ahead and do it. I think it's a matter of they've got some decisions to make, but he's not going to coach. He won't be their coach December the 1st. His buyout.
Yeah, there's no way.
No. His buyout is $9.8 million. They would like to hire Gus Malzahn. They are looking at Mike Norvell at Memphis,
which would be a good hire, I think.
Yeah, Norvell would be a good hire. You just got to make sure you got all your ducks in a row.
Because you think you can do it. You think Arkansas can hire Mike Norvell.
Multiple people say they can, but that you have to be prepared from a PR standpoint. Because there's going to be a backlash. It's going to come out. And when it does, you have to be prepared for it, braced for it. You can't fly by the seat of your pants and hire Mike Norvell. You got to have leadership.
And what about TJ Fleck? I got a huge win today. I mean, do you think he would actually come to Arkansas?
No. He signed a long-term extension at Minnesota this week. He's in a good place. God, hell, they're 9-0.
Right move or wrong move, though? Because you always talk about getting out if you can get out. Would you have signed it?
Well, the money that's in it?
Yeah, I'm just asking.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
App State just picked 6.
Are you a Nationals fan?
South Carolina.
Oh no, I'm originally. I used to live in Oxford. I'm in the military, so I work here in D.C. I've been here for about a month now, so I've kind of been all over the place.
You gotten used to it?
What now?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. Anything else?
Hey, I'm gonna give Minnesota.
No, I'm good.
University of
Thanks
Minnesota.
for the call.
They're,
Yeah, have a good one.
Who is it? Said BWL says, "Can we get Minnesota Stadium?" Minnesota's on-campus stadium is absolutely. Whoever did that was forward thinking. It's perfect for Big Ten college football. It's small. It's intimate. It's perfect. Had a great environment there today. That was a fun game. It's much like the Pavilion. Whoever designed the Pavilion, kudos. It's great. Big fan.
How real are you making this Brakefield thing?
On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 2.
Could it move up quickly, or are you just not in on it? What's sort of your overall feeling at the moment?
I mean, it could jump to a 9 overnight, but I think in the end, Duke's going to keep him, and he's on campus, and he just tweeted out the whole, "Hey, Duke Nation."
Did that change your number?
Yeah, because it tells me that everything's okay. He would. I think Jamin, if it was completely his decision with no other outside thing, I think it would be Ole Miss. But it's hard to turn Duke down. There's a chance Duke processes him out in the next 48 hours, but I doubt it.
Well, it wouldn't be that strong anyway, though.
Right. It would be more him saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about reneging on my commitment here," and Duke basically saying, "Hey, you got to do what you got to do."
So I've got a response. I text Emily. They do not have it at St. Leo. They do not have ketchup.
Look at you.
It is not available whatsoever. They do have it at the lounge, though. Let's go across to the lounge.
Because they have the fries. And
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, they have it at the lounge. Anyway, yeah, that's what we're doing tonight, obviously.
Yeah, I've been on the University of Minnesota campus. It's nothing to write home about.
Oh, I never did that when I was up there for that tournament whenever I go.
You been to the Mall of America?
Nope.
Yeah. It's worth doing.
Maybe I was a crappy tourist when I was up there.
You probably were.
There was a freaking blizzard. There were 22 inches of snow on the ground. You weren't going much of anywhere. I mean, the Metrodome was freezing.
I've told you, I was there for an NCAA tournament once, and it was so hot in my hotel that every couple hours I would go downstairs and walk outside and cool off in the -9 temperatures and then go back upstairs. And I called and said,
yeah.
"Hey, can we do something about the air?" And he said, "Oh, the chillers are off. Chillers are off. Turn the chillers back on."
That was the problem because the Metrodome was so empty they couldn't turn the heaters on. The attendance had to be a certain number for them to spend the money for the heating.
And so it was cold.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's a metal building. I mean, it's freezing in there. You're bundled up. You've got scarves and coats and everything in an indoor dome. And that was almost a creepy place, empty, because there's nobody at this game whatsoever. It was Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Minnesota in this tournament.
Just 3 teams?
Well, the Citadel was supposed to come, and they got snowed. Like, they couldn't get out. They got snowed in or couldn't land or whatever.
So Ole Miss and Arkansas and Minnesota just played each other.
So Ole Miss played Arkansas on Friday night, and then Minnesota played Ole Miss in a doubleheader on Saturday, and then played Arkansas in a doubleheader on Sunday.
Oh,
to give them their full allotment of games. Because, I mean, this was probably the peak. This was 2007, so this was close to the peak of Arkansas and Ole Miss hating one another in baseball. It was the same year as the Brian Walker thing. And the Minnesota fans were very, very, very confused.
About the hate?
Yeah, because they're watching it going, we're watching a baseball game, and you got these Ole Miss and Arkansas people that are taking it very, very seriously, the 150 of both of them that traveled or whatever. And it was a really strange environment. Mike was as mad as I've seen him maybe in his years. They lost the opener to Minnesota on that Saturday, and he yelled at everybody, benched half the starting lineup, was not thrilled, and then they won, and he apologized and whatever. But yeah, he had a little shoot the messenger that night, which was incredibly rude since I was actually in Minnesota, but nonetheless. It was the same year as the horseshit question against Central Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
We did not get off on the right foot, obviously, in the first or second season of the deal.
John Kennedy asked, do we have any barometer on Boyce's Luke opinion? I don't. I just think that the money is a significant issue.
Yeah, Matt said on Wednesday they've talked twice for brief periods of time.
Okay.
Who's on the phone?
This is Mark.
Hey, Mark,
Okay.
what's up?
How are y'all doing tonight?
Oh, we're awesome.
I saw a little bit of the Ole Miss game tonight, but I watched a lot of the LSU Alabama game. I felt like Burrow probably won the Heisman.
Oh, for sure.
Bama made it a game. What y'all think about it?
Yeah, I thought Burrow won the Heisman. It's over. He'd have to. I mean, he would have to just make an absolute mess of the bed the next 3 weeks to not win it. He's going to win the Heisman. I thought you got to give LSU a ton of credit because a couple of different times it felt like Alabama had the momentum and they just got scores and did their thing. And a lot of NFL players on that team.
I actually thought it was a pretty interesting juxtaposition from when, I guess it was 2007 when Orgeron was at Ole Miss. He had a fourth down play. LSU was up 2 scores. Near midfield, I guess it was 4th and 1. Looked like he was going to go for it. They motioned into 4 different formations, tried to draw him off sides, ultimately called a timeout. And you kind of looked at it, I guess as an Ole Miss fan, you were like, wow, I wish we had seen that, 11 or 12 years ago. He ultimately called a timeout and punted, and it looked like a bright decision.
Yeah, I think you got to give Orgeron this. He's matured as a coach in a number of ways. And then secondly, he's at a place where it's just easier to do what he's doing. It's easier to just be a CEO and hire the right people and coordinate the talent and motivate at LSU today than it was at Ole Miss back then.
He's kind of to LSU what Glenn Boyce could be to Ole Miss if it had come about the right way.
Expound on that.
He's the local guy. Who he is, how he feels, how he thinks fits with a large percentage of the fan base. But what's really interesting to me, looking at Ole Miss, despite the fact that if you had put Boyce's profile out there a year ago, a lot of Ole Miss supporters would have been behind him because of the way Boyce came into that job. He has very little support, but in reality, Boyce is to Ole Miss what Orgeron is to LSU.
What about his background would have made a lot of Ole Miss people choose him as their favorite?
I mean, he's kind of just an Ole Miss dude. Do you want to keep it real?
Sure.
You want to get real tonight?
Absolutely.
Boyce is as white as white gets. He believes in a lot of the things that a lot of the Ole Miss supporters believe in. He comes in preaching that he's gonna reach out to the alumni base, he's gonna reach out to the students, he's gonna recruit, he's gonna do all this. But in reality, in the first month, what's he done? He has kind of stepped on a handful of liberal groups and kept them from doing some of the things that, quite honestly, have upset a lot of the Ole Miss fan base over the last several years. I mean, the reality of the situation is the very few moves he has made in a vacuum would have been vociferously supported by a large percentage of the fan base. But because of the way he came into power, people still tend to kind of push back on it. We've kind of gone all over the place, but you go back to Orgeron. Orgeron fits into LSU in a lot of ways, similarly to the way Boyce fits into Ole Miss.
I'm really not being antagonistic. I'm really curious here more than anything else. Other than the thing with Curtis Wilkie in the Overby Center, what moves are we talking about?
Well, there's been very few, and there's been little time so far for them. but you had the Curtis Wilkie thing. I guess you more recently, it hadn't been that much time. There were two things that happened over the last 48, 72 hours. You had also the lady's name skips my mind. Who was the lady that was kind of part of y'all's talking points as it related to the beer in the stadium that had
Brandy
Mary
Hebner
LeBlanc or Brantley Hebner, so she stepped down.
She
So,
was
like, a lot
already
of
leaving
things
before
that
he got
have
hired,
happened,
though.
and that's cool.
Well, how does he get credit
but
for that?
some of the
Again,
things-
not being antagonistic, I'm just curious. I mean, she had 3 interviews before he ever got even in the conversation.
No, in reality, she probably doesn't. In the same way that some of the guys that are on campus at LSU for Orgeron right now, we're there. My point is, Orgeron took over as interim for LSU and he won, and he became embraced by the fan base because he's one of them. He sounds like them. He acts like them. All of that. From far away, we all laughed at him. We saw Orgeron at Ole Miss. We saw him for what he was. You kind of look across the river. You look at Ole Miss, at what's happening with us. We tried to do something similar with Matt Luke. It turns out that we're a better training ground for inexperienced coaches than we are a proving ground for them. And then Boyce comes in. I'm a little bit all over the place, but Boyce to Ole Miss fits like Orgeron to LSU does. However, the way that they both came into power causes a significant difference in the way that they're both perceived.
Drinking anything good tonight?
So, Delirium Tremens, it's a really good Belgian ale.
Okay.
Just came to Mississippi, and I've got that tonight. I'm kind of a beer guy. If I got into the stuff that y'all got into, you probably wouldn't be able to hear from me tonight. My wife and daughter are up in Oxford. I'm here with my son who's playing in a golf tournament in town this weekend. So, just doing the beer thing tonight.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the call.
Be good.
I mean, if they hang on and give Orgeron, he got hired at Ole Miss in 2005, so 14 years from now, might have something going. That's all I can come up with. I don't know. First thing that came to my mind. Drunk or not? What do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay, no, I don't either. My guess is no. If you're just telling me to go one way or the other. Who's on the line, caller?
Yeah, hi, it's Barry calling from Colorado. How are you guys?
What's up, Barry?
Neil, I hadn't seen you since we were at Ole Miss together, long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yep, you were, I think, you were in Michael Abraham's pledge class, right? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Name all your fraternity brothers, Neil. Go ahead. Let's do it now. Name your we'll limit it to like 20. Just name your 20 favorites right now.
I couldn't do it.
Come on.
Hey, so question for you guys about the offense. First question: has Rich Rodriguez ever coordinated in the SEC before this stint at Ole Miss?
No.
Okay. And second question was, watching John Rice try to throw, and for that matter, when Corral's in, watching him try to throw, is part of the problem with the throwing game that they just don't have time to throw?
Look, I do think we look past this for some reason. I mean, offensive line play was going to be an issue going into the season. It's still an issue, and we don't talk about it as much. We get so obsessed with the quarterbacks in a lot of ways that we haven't pointed out some wide receiver issues, some offensive line issues. I mean, no, there is not a full deck all the way around this offense right now.
Yeah. Well, I was just curious. I'm just watching their schemes with throwing the ball, and I don't think I've seen a true drop back pocket forming attempt maybe all season. I mean, it's either an RPO quick shot to the out. I actually was impressed to see he actually threw a couple of balls over the middle today, I think one to Cooley, and I think somebody else got one over the middle. But I was just wondering, is Rich Rod looking at this as, these guys can't pass protect enough to give either quarterback enough time to try to take a shot down the field? Or is this just the way Rodriguez runs an offense?
I don't think you can pin it on just this is the way Rodriguez runs an offense. I mean, I do think their hamstring.
He has had years in his past where they've thrown the football around.
Yeah.
Khalil Tate did a little bit of everything.
I do think they're hamstrung by being very thin up front, by being very young at the quarterback position. If you told me that I could change one thing and then see what happened, I would love to see what would have happened with this offense had Corral not gotten hurt against Cal.
Yeah. That's true. Interesting.
Because I don't know whether they would have made the move or whether we would still be talking about Matt Corral developing as a quarterback right now. I just don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. Well, and I'd have to look back before Corral got hurt. I mean, what was his percentage of run versus pass? With him drawing the ball and running.
He wasn't running much at all. He was throwing the football. He was
throwing the ball.
Yeah, they were throwing the ball. I actually thought offensively, if you had stopped time in the middle of the third quarter against Cal, I would have told you that offensively they were making progress. I would have told you this season was going exactly like I sort of thought it was going. That, they're losing some games and it's disappointing, but they're making progress, and he's starting to spread the ball around. They're starting to develop some other receivers. Mingo is involved, et cetera, et cetera. And Cooley was involved. And where they are today, I know the win-loss record is sort of where we thought it might be, 4-6. But offensively, they just don't look like what I thought they would look like, especially if you had told me that defensively they would be as far along as they are. I would have thought I would have thought offensively they would be different, but we'll never know because they've clearly moved in a different direction. And even though they're saying all the things they're saying about, two starting quarterbacks, come on, give me a break.
No.
That was the worst quote of the year.
Frankly, to me, that's disingenuous.
I don't even know what's the point of it at this point. I mean, are they trying to hang on to Corral? And, I mean, why? I mean, they're not playing him.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're not giving him enough to get into a rhythm at all.
I'm sure they would love to have that insurance policy. Yeah.
Well,
because look, let's talk about this for a minute. Let's say Corral leaves.
Yep.
Tisdale's leaving. Corral leaves. You're down to John Rice Plumlee, who's going to play baseball in the spring. And so you've got Kincaid Dent. I'm not even going to count the other guys like Sellers. Nothing against the kids, but they're walk-ons. You've got Kincaid Dent running through the spring. And what are you going to do with Kincaid? Are you going to ask Kincaid to run John Rice Plumlee's offense? Because that's not Kincaid Dent's strong suit. And then when you get into the summer and you get into the fall, it's John Rice Plumlee, and it's Kincaid Dent, and it's Robbie Ashford. And so you've got Plumlee, this run-oriented quarterback. You've got Dent, who's a thrower, and you've got Ashford, who's a true freshman, who's a thrower. So my guess is they go double down on Jimmy Holiday and they sign him. They turn him from his TCU commitment. They sign him. And at some point, he makes the most sense to be the backup to Plumlee because he's the one that's most similar to Plumlee.
I'm trying to give Rodriguez the benefit of the doubt and say that, this, I loved what last week somebody called it an RRO and not an RPO because that's what it is. But I mean, I guess what I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and say it's an 80% run offense because that's what they can do with what they've got up front.
I mean, I do think the OL does contribute to play calling to some extent. There's no doubt, but it's a lot of things. It's not one thing either way.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys go.
Appreciate it.
Neil, I like your hairdo. By the way, I have the exact same one as you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Always good to be complimented. Someone had I told Andy Kennedy this today on text. Someone had an idea for a title for a show if Andy and I did a basketball show. basketballed.
It's pretty good.
I thought it was very good.
Is it taken?
Andy was amused.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Is he interested?
I don't know that he's interested, but he was amused.
So he's not interested in the show?
He's probably interested in the show. I don't know that he's interested in necessarily doing a show with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, come on, he's big time now.
What's causing that?
He's really good at TV. Hey, caller, who's this?
This call's not working on the thing. I did not mean to hang up on you, but I have having an issue with there we go. It's fixed now.
Hey, caller, who's this? Hey, Jacob, how are you? Oh, we're great.
Watching the game, going to the games, having season tickets growing up, and this is the first season I've never been so apathetic towards a team. Like, this is the first season I've taken naps during games. Like, it is crazy how much interest the fan base has lost.
What's it going to take to get you back?
That's a damn good question. Honestly, I don't even know, because I mean, we're so dug deep in this now with Boyce and all that. I mean, it's going to take at least 5 years to have a competitive team, a competitive college. You know, I mean, enrollment's down and all that, and it's crazy how far down we're going. I mean, we're going to be on Vanderbilt level. I mean, not academically, but it's getting crazy.
So you don't think Boyce is at Orgeron here soon, within the year?
I never understood those comparisons. That guy was pretty kind of crazy, but okay.
Okay, just curious.
Well, since I am so apathetic tonight, I will mention this. For the past several years, I've been a big grill guy, smoking out and meats and stuff. And I just bought a house here in Laurel, and my smoker is still at my other house, so I decided to do some seared some lamb on the cast iron.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's the best lamb I've ever had. The whole time I'm cooking, I'm like, it's not going to be any good because it's not on a smoker. But man,
so what did you do?
Crazy.
You seared it on the cast iron, then put it in the oven?
I did not. I just seared it. No, actually I did. I seared it probably about 4 minutes on each side, kind of medium, and I put it in the oven for about 10 minutes at about 225.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, that was the best lamb I ever had, and now I'm changing my mind on my smoker. So.
How did you season it? Just salt and pepper, or what?
Salt and pepper, a little bit of rosemary, and a little basil, and that's really about it.
That sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate the show.
Absolutely.
Are you a nap guy, Chase? Can you take a nap?
Oh God, no. I even as a kid, in kindergarten, I didn't take naps. I've never been able to really sleep at all. No, nothing. I don't know why. I don't know what the deal is, but
can you sleep on a plane?
I can rest and sort of doze a little, but no, I'm not ever going to be. And I'm not scared of flying. It does not raise my blood pressure even in the slightest. But no, I have no ability to just conk out and be gone.
See,
No.
I can sleep for hours on a
Well, see,
plane.
here's my deal. If I ever fall asleep and it's a fairly short nap, I feel worse. I'm
Really?
groggy, and no, it takes me forever to wake back up.
What if you get like a good 2-hour nap?
Oh, it doesn't happen.
Oh.
No.
There's nothing better.
Really?
Oh, my God. It's awesome.
You're No, it's not my thing.
Oh, if you tell me that I can carve out like an hour and a half for a nap, I'm in.
Who's on the line?
This is Jeffrey Simmons.
How much alcohol we had tonight? How you doing?
Yeah.
Well, down here in Knoxville County, we do not have that much to do. So, but we did watch the Alabama game earlier.
Yeah.
And,
Did you watch it in your truck?
No, I watched it in my Charger.
Okay.
And,
How's our boy Pat doing these days?
he's pretty good.
Okay.
But anyways, it was the Alabama game worked out pretty good. I've been in contact with some of my people on the other side of the line over there. I'm not far where I'm at. It's pretty much open season on the wives from what I'm hearing after the game. So I'm about to head over there and see what I can do.
Right.
Help some buddies out. But I'll say this about Ole Miss. Man, I think they're lost.
Do what now?
I'm pretty sure they're lost overall.
Are they? What's going to fix it?
You tell me. Oh, I don't know. Bring Hugh back, I reckon.
You think that'd do it?
Probably not.
Who would you hire?
I'd probably hire Mike Ditka, but
he's still alive.
He's still in the business.
Yeah.
No, but I do have a question. I have a question for Neil.
Okay.
Then I'll leave it with you.
Why not?
All right, Neil. Does a deaf girl masturbate with one hand?
Okay. Here, that did it.
Nope. Nope.
I was waiting on that. It took it took 3 or 4 weeks to get one of those. So
yeah.
You know what's funny? It's really kind of a serious question as much as we're kind of laughing here.
Okay.
I put up a Twitter poll earlier today. People were interested in football or basketball at the moment. Ole Miss obviously beat Arkansas State last night. Matthew Morrell stuff today. Overwhelmingly, basketball was the sport, as mentioned.
Yeah.
No basketball calls. In the emotion of football, it still comes back to football.
Sure.
Even no matter what's going on, even though they played a November or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, still, it's football.
Yeah, it's why at any SEC school not named Kentucky, you got to get football right. Can you imagine how much fun it would be right now for Ole Miss fans if football was good? Because basketball would still be good.
Well, I mean, look, there was a year. Was it Marshall's year? That within a calendar year, you had the Access Bowl, you had Omaha, and you had the basketball tournament in a calendar year.
Yeah.
Who's on the line?
It's Martin again. My wife's happy tonight.
Okay. Why is she happy?
I called in a couple weeks ago. She was all sad and depressed after the game. So things are better.
That's right.
Oh, okay. There was a different wife call.
Question, basketball, we're actually good. Do I plan to take a trip to watch us in the tourney, or do I plan to go to Vegas for the opening weekend and watch the tourney in Vegas?
Personally, I think this is a tournament team. I think
that's what I kind of think.
Is that the better trip?
Yeah, the tournament's a fun trip.
Okay.
I think this is a tournament team.
Kansas City was fun.
I think this is a team that is going to be positive side of the bubble. Does that make sense? Like they're going to be bubbly, but on the good side of the bubble. I think next year this team is better than it is this year. But I do think this is a tournament team. I think this is a team that could win a game in the tournament and have a very interesting second round game where who knows? His program is definitely going in the right direction. Kermit is this thing is trending up, but it's not like a straight up. It's more of a
It's a stair step.
Yeah, it's just going up steps. He's got it really going. But I think this is a tournament team. I'd plan on the tournament.
Well, basketball is much more entertaining than football right now. People need to move on. Football's over. Move on. Let's have positive thoughts tonight.
It's SEC school. Football has to work to some extent.
It has to.
Period. It just does.
Well,
because look, the Ole Miss basketball fan base is coming back. It's pretty tuned in right now. And I made that comment a second ago, but it's not even really about that. Just in general, football affects the mood of everything else. That's what happens.
We know.
It changes
it has
the mood.
To work. But it's not going to work this year. And
no, this year's
next
over.
Year's probably not going to be pretty either. It's over.
Yeah,
we need positive thoughts.
basketball looked good last night. It's time to move on for a few months. Let it be.
What channel is ESPNU on DirecTV?
I'm sure someone can tell you in a second. I don't know. I use Hulu Live now, and I had Dish before that.
208.
208.
208
is what the caller says.
I don't think that's right.
What did you think of the Matthew Morrell stuff today?
Oh, it is right.
We're happy. We finally landed a big fish.
For sure.
You know, you have to you can't get the second one before you get the first one, and that was AK's problem all along. He never got the first one to jump on.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But you know, better days ahead in basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball looks good. Football will be good in a few years.
We'll see. Appreciate the call. Thanks.
Thunder up 17 at the half over the Warriors.
Yeah. November basketball in the NBA, nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
Let's make sure we get those playoff brackets ready.
I'm a little concerned the Thunder are going to be too good.
Because that doesn't mean you're ahead in the rebuild, does it?
Nope. No, the turnout was about what I thought it would be last night. Maybe it was a little under what I thought it would be.
They announced 8.
Yeah, it was probably 7.
It's hard to know for sure because they don't fill up the premium seating in the seats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you never really know what that looks like or that doesn't look like.
News on Darius Thomas. I've not heard any. I think they're still evaluating. Probably not the best sign in the world.
Oh yeah, it's just nothing's really happened there, has it?
Yeah. And then what's going on at Duke? Duke is recruiting at such a level that at some point someone's going to get processed, and I think Ole Miss is hoping that the person getting processed is Jamin Brakefield. Brakefield was not particularly thrilled earlier in the week with Duke recruiting the way they were recruiting in the 2021 class. And there's a chance that works out, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
You think Wiseman will play against Ole Miss on the 23rd? What's your guess?
Ooh. It's 2 weeks from today. I'm going to say no.
They're going to sit him by that point.
I think the NCAA is going to have its way by then.
The media is going to have a really hard time with that.
They really are.
Did you see Calkins' one of his latest tweets?
No.
Somebody sent it to me.
There's so much pressure on those people to be pro-Memphis.
It is a picture of Wiseman with like smoke and lights and stuff around him.
Yeah.
One of those promotional kind of deals. Wiseman, quote in the tweet, Calkins, Wiseman stares down the NCAA in a photo with smoke and lights.
You start to see why I didn't get that job in Memphis. I just wasn't enough of a sellout. And I'd say it to every one of their faces. People who are friends. It's obvious where the story's going. But, man, there's so much pressure.
Penny, the head coach for the 2021 season?
No. There's so much pressure on the people there to be homers. It's out of control.
We're watching Clemson, NC State now.
Well,
no, I'm sorry, we're not.
We're not, but they're up 30.
Dave Doran having a rough night.
Yeah.
35-0 Tigers at this point.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oklahoma up 7-0 at the moment. Or at that moment, 21-7 now.
21-7 Oklahoma at the
They can get back in this thing.
Yeah, sure. You can survive as a one-loss team.
So you watched a little bit of this today. Did Minnesota scheme to a win? What happened? What
they
was
just
your opinion?
played, man. They just played hard. Made some things happen. They put some pressure on Penn State's quarterback and made plays. They made big-time plays. They played hard, and the environment was great. And it was a fun game. Penn State, Minnesota was a fun college football game. If all you watched today was Penn State, Minnesota, Alabama, LSU, you walked away going, man, this college football's fun.
Dave Doran won 9 games in back-to-back seasons. You can't really it's apples and mangoes. It's impossible to play that into what he would have been at Ole Miss or not been at Ole Miss. It's just not something that's doable at all. And that's not saying he would have been successful. I have no idea, but You can't take this 1 year NC State record and let that be what it is.
No.
Who's on the line?
Not.
This is Jeremy. This is really a question for Neil. Do you think you would see talking about Memphis head coach possibly sloppier than Hugh Freeze that quickly?
Do I think what now?
You would see a head coach possibly sloppier than Hugh Freeze that quickly?
It's my Penny.
Oh, yeah. I told Chase that there's a lot of similarities in the two.
I think so too.
Well, it's arrogance, it's sloppiness, it's defiance, it's arrogance. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's arrogance.
With Penny, it's more entitlement.
It
because
is.
I mean, he's been this guy for so many years, for decades, for whatever. It's about a multi-millionaire. I mean, still got a shoe. I mean, his shoe's like the second best they've ever sold behind Jordan. I mean, it's a very charmed life to have to then play under any rules whatsoever.
Doors Rules has a great question for both of you. Let's say Norvell leaves.
Sure.
Goes to Arkansas, because that's the favorite in the clubhouse if you were to tell me that Norvell leaves.
Sure.
Does Memphis hire Hugh Freeze?
Yes.
See, if you told me that Hugh Freeze got the Memphis job, I don't blink. If you told me that Hugh Freeze gets an SEC job, I'm stunned. Even though I want to go on the record yet again and say, dear football gods, dear baby Jesus, dear 8-pound, 7-ounce Jesus, please let Hugh Freeze get the Mississippi State job. Thank you. Amen. I promise to be the best of good boys.
That is my one little bit of worry there. If Freeze gets the Memphis job, I'm a little worried for Jeffrey's job security.
Yeah.
At that point,
If he,
can
we pray again?
Sure. Let's pray.
Dear sweet Jesus.
Speaking of.
Yeah,
I come to you
about
tonight.
the basketball team. I watched the game.
I come to you tonight humbly asking for Hugh Freeze to get the Mississippi State football job this year, preferably the day after Thanksgiving. I promise to be the best boy. Ask all of this in your name. Amen. Okay.
Go ahead.
The one other point I had is I was watching the game with Arkansas State, and I see exactly what you're talking about with Curly Neal. And the other thing I noticed that it hadn't really been talked about is when Sammy Hunter was on the floor, how he kind of stretched it some in two ways, because he has a little bit of outside shot, but just how well he passed from the high block.
He really did, didn't he? He did it like three times where it was like, oh, yeah. His high block, low block passing.
What are we talking about?
Hunter on the high block is a very good passer. He sees the court well.
Okay.
And
when I seen that, I said, whoa. I mean, it was that kind of passing.
Yeah, they're going to be really good in February. I mean, they're still feeling themselves right now, and they're figuring it out. And Kermit
of course.
Yeah, and Kermit's coaching them hard, and he's using the bench as a discipline thing, and it's all good. I mean, all of that is a compliment. What you see today is not what you'll see in the middle of February. And listen, I've got a man crush on Austin Crowley. That is,
is it Crowley or Crowley?
Whatever.
It's Crowley.
Either way, I like him.
Crowley, I think.
It's Crowley.
I think it's Crowley.
I love
just the Hunter thing that stuck out to me when I watched it.
I love Hunter's game. I love Crowley's game. Crowley's understanding of the floor. Once he gets stronger and becomes a better physical defender, he's going to be a great player. He's fun to watch. I wrote this last night. I geek about it. I'm really enamored with his game, with the potential of his game. It's not going to happen this year, but if you told me as a sophomore he makes this quantum leap, and as a junior he's an all-SEC player, I totally buy it.
Let me ask you just one other question, and I'll let that go.
Why not?
Do you think Kermit signs one more person besides Murther, kind of no matter what? Because, I mean, if you watch, it's obvious there's two kids on that team that are just not really going to get minutes when anything gets any semi important.
Listen, if they can sign Brakefield, they will. If they can't, I think they'll wait and see what transpires in the transfer market. And here's the other thing that you don't know, right, is that does Devontae Shuler stay for his senior year or does he go pro? Because the Devontae Shuler that played last night, he has backup NBA point guard written all over him. And maybe he needs.
I had a confronted thing. Somebody said they didn't want him to go yet, and I said no, let him go because that would do such a junior leaving, not a senior, and getting drafted in the NBA could do so much for the program.
Oh, I agree. And Devontae, it's a credit to Kermit. His development over the course of 12 months is just stunning. His confidence as a person, the way he led on the floor last night, I was really impressed. And I like Devontae a lot. I think he's a neat kid. I like his family, the whole deal. But throw all that stuff out. If you just kind of watched his body language last night, even when he made a screw up, because he had a mid part of the second half, he had a really dumb turnover, and he immediately owned it. I mean, owned it. Where Kermit didn't even get to yell at him because Kermit saw that Devontae owned it right away, and he just continued to lead. I was really impressed. He on a night when Brian's shot wasn't falling, and that's not going to happen much because Brian's a really good shooter. But last night Brian couldn't throw the damn thing into the, he couldn't throw it off the boat into the water. Last night they just picked up the slack. Both Devontae and KJ Buffin, their maturity, their development as players, as people is really a testament to the job that not only Kermit but Kermit's staff does on a daily basis. That is a really good program.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. KJ Buffin, man, his body and not only that, but just his game knowledge, his maturity it's really impressive.
Yeah, George Orville makes a decent point there. I didn't see Kermit really go to the hardcore zone last night, really kind of coach it up like he would do.
Played. He wanted guys to play. They weren't scheming. They had Arkansas State beat.
I'm not convinced Arkansas State's good at all.
Probably not.
I think Kermit was being very nice on Thursday night when he told us how improved they were.
Sure.
But
well, look, if you're an Ole Miss fan, starting last night,
you're a Red Wolves fan.
Yeah, at about 8:15, you want Arkansas State to go win some games.
Yeah, do okay in the Sun Belt.
I mean, you're a Red Wolves fan from now on.
Norfolk State, Seattle,
sure,
Western Michigan on
But
Friday
I think
night.
last night was about and Kermit said this last night. Even though he yelled at kids and he called a timeout 30 seconds in and all that stuff. It was their first game. They are human beings. They're not robots.
That was a quick timeout last night, wasn't it?
Well, the first two possessions could not have gone worse, and he called timeout to yell at them, and then they came back with a run and won the game. But they are humans. They're not little robots, and they were nervous, and there was a lot going on, and he yelled at them and got them to play basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, their strength and conditioning program is great. The job that they've done with some bodies is it's remarkable.
You think Shuler's an NBA player?
Yeah, I do. I think Devontae is a prototypical NBA backup point guard. Great on-ball defender. He doesn't turn it over, can shoot just well enough. Do I think he's an NBA star? I don't. Do I think he could play 18 minutes a night at the NBA level as a point guard? I do.
So they get 4 relative warm-ups and then Memphis.
Yep. Can't wait for that one. Be fun. Be a lot of emotion underneath the surface on that one.
What way?
I don't think Kermit's crazy about those guys.
Do you not?
I don't.
Think he'll have them juice for that one.
I think he'll say all the right things.
But in the locker room,
yeah. I don't think that I will be privy to the true feelings of what he thinks.
He'll want that one.
Yes. A lot.
And look, it's an opportunity.
Sure.
Because Memphis, even without Wiseman's a good team.
Sure.
They're not the team that can be with him. I mean, analysis. But
Georgia Rebel makes a great comparison.
What?
Patrick Beverly, Devontae Shuler. That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
You hate Patrick Beverly.
Yeah, but as an NBA player, I got to think about that a little bit. But that's not bad at all. No, not just DJ, just in general. But DJ, yeah, sure. But not just DJ.
Included. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's there. Yeah, sure. But it's not just that. Yeah, I like this team, man. I mean, they're fun. I love basketball. I mean, I'll admit that. I love basketball, and they're fun. You see guys develop, and it's fun to watch him coach, and different guys are developing, and I'm glad that mostly for the kid, because I like the kid a bunch. I'm glad that Blake Henson's going to be okay, and he's going to get an opportunity to play, and he's going to add a lot to that team. Mostly I'm happy for the kid, if I'm totally honest, but I'm happy for Ole Miss and for Kermit and those guys that they're going to get Blake back, but I'm mostly happy for Blake that he's going to get to play basketball, and because he's a neat kid.
Kermit's hanging out on Twitter right now.
Is he?
Liking some tweets.
Whose tweets?
Mine.
Yours?
Yeah.
What'd you tweet?
Matthew Morrell. I had stuff about Matthew Morrell earlier today.
Good.
So he's hanging out. Who's the football Kermit? I mean,
Willie Fritz.
I mean, it's a different level, but I mean, I think a guy with just a lot of acumen, even though he's not in a big time job, is the guy at Kansas State right now.
Ooh, he's good.
I mean,
he's a good coach.
There's a ceiling to Kansas State, but I think he's a very good coach.
He's a good coach.
Bill Clark is a good coach, but I'm not quite ready to crown him yet.
I'm not ready to go there at all.
Yeah.
I'll hire Willie Fritz 4 times before I hire Bill Clark once.
Will you really?
Yeah.
That's good. I think Kermit does handle his own Twitter to some extent.
I have no idea.
I don't think it's all GA. Mike handles his own Twitter, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, sure, Jay Hill at Weber State, I have no idea. I couldn't have made that pull.
No. I can't go there.
Are we back on? 17-7?
17-7, BYU beating
the Flames.
The Flames. I was going to make another statement, but I'm glad you went there. Thank you.
What were you going to say?
No.
Does Taggart get another head coaching gig?
Ooh. I know he wants one.
Well, thanks. Really?
I know he has real regrets about what happened a couple years ago.
What are you talking about?
He wishes he'd taken the Ole Miss job.
He would have a longer contract.
Yeah.
I mean, look, PJ Fleck, I mean, yeah, I get it. I mean, sure. He's good.
Mormon 17, massages 7. That's good. No more calls?
I don't have one coming in right
wow.
now.
How about that?
Talk about whatever you want to talk about.
How long have we been going?
A little over 2 hours.
Okay. I always wonder what this show would be like. Like next Saturday, I expect just chaos.
Egg Bowl, I expect chaos.
Thanksgiving night.
Everybody's going to be tired of the turkey and tired of people. That's the thing about Thursday night is you've got family all day that, frankly, you don't like.
Yeah.
You're waiting on the game to get you out of the room, and then you're probably going to have another piece of pecan pie, and then you log on, you start watching us, and it's like, whoa.
And the game's going to do one of two things.
It's going to pep you up a little bit or piss you off.
Or it's going to piss you off. Because it's one thing to say going in, hey, I don't care.
We could have broke the Mike Shula news on the show just a couple 2 years ago. Could have done it right here on the show.
We should have.
Because we were not particularly sober at that moment.
We weren't.
We were.
Because Chase was like, you think we should do this? And I was like, yeah.
Why not? Yeah, sure.
And then Chase calls me the next morning and goes, hey, you're not going to believe what they have out front. I was like, you're kidding. Oh, I think I said something different.
Yeah. Egg Bowl will be great. It'll be fun. Next week, home games are worse than road games. Road games, I've already realized that as we've been going.
Yeah.
Because road games, everybody's at home anyway. They've been sitting on the couch. You're not dealing with people getting home after the game, dealing with just a day around the campus or the town or anything like that.
What do you think the Ole Miss LSU line is tomorrow?
Hot take, I think Ole Miss covers just because of the flat meltdown.
Yeah, what do you think the line is? 27?
23,
22.
20. It's in Oxford.
I think it's higher than that, but I think Ole Miss covers. I think LSU has a hard time getting up.
Yeah.
Who's LSU have left? They have
A&M. And then I don't know. A&M's last.
Ole Miss, Arkansas, Texas A&M.
Which Ole Miss historically plays LSU a little better in Baton Rouge than they do Oxford.
Yeah. Yeah, Georgia says LSU by 27. That's the line I would have gone with, is 27.
But LSU is going to be they're gonna have a really hard week of practice to get back up, and it's going to be a little bit of a sleepwalk.
Because they're going to be talking about Alabama till Thursday. And I think Ole Miss keeps it within 20-ish.
It's that game where it's kind of ugly.
41
it's
to 21.
It's never necessarily in doubt at all, but it's not a complete and utter bloodbath.
It's kind of what I think, too. And then they kill Arkansas.
Oof. So they keep the boot? They get the boot?
Arkansas, bless their hearts.
Will they even walk across and – well, they don't have to walk across. Will they even grab the boot?
Probably not.
They'll forget there's a boot.
Arkansas has a week off. Then they play at LSU and then Missouri and Little Rock.
That is the one thing that could get it carried away is Ole Miss still to, pass defense is a problem, and Burrow could throw.
Oh, yeah.
You could have that situation where you just can't stop them.
Because, look, I know that the trophy doesn't mean what it used to mean, but it's still a chance to win the Heisman. And it's his trophy to lose now.
Oh, no doubt about that.
If you're the Dolphins with the first pick, do you take Tua or Burrow? I know my answer.
You're taking Burrow.
All day.
You really liked his pocket presence.
I love it. There's nothing about his game I don't like.
Won't be worried about running it up. That's not really the...
No, he's past that.
Frankly, in a lot of ways, I think he's sort of appreciative at this point.
Yeah.
He knows he sucked.
To his credit, he knows he did a terrible job at Ole Miss, and had it not been for how bad of a job he did at Ole Miss, he would not be the coach he is today.
He wouldn't have fixed some of the things. To this point, he still kept his hands off. He kept his hands off today.
Let him play.
He let Aranda, and now he has two brilliant minds around him. He has one of the top 5 defensive coordinators and an emerging offensive genius.
Yes.
On his sideline.
And he lets him go. He does not interfere. He just does his thing. He motivates and cheers and.
Yeah, it's exactly an LSU team, except they have a quarterback. This is what happens when LSU has a quarterback. They're always the best-looking team off the bus, every single season, nationally, period.
Yeah, and let's not underplay how good he is.
Who, Joe?
Yeah. He was going to be Ohio State's quarterback, but he broke his thumb. He ended up losing the job to the cat who's the quarterback for the Redskins now, Haskins. He didn't lose his job to, some schmuck. He lost his job to a first-round pick who's the quarterback of the Redskins in his rookie year. He's the dude. He's legit.
If you're Vegas, what's an Ohio State LSU line today?
Ooh, LSU by 1.5.
You give them a slight edge.
Yeah. I think they're better. LSU's got pro players all over the damn field, man.
That's the championship game I want.
Oh, can't wait.
That's what I want.
Can't wait.
I don't want an upset in the semifinals. I want those two teams.
Do you want a rematch?
In the semis?
Anywhere.
Well, that's the final I want, so
I want. Yeah, I'm with you. I want.
If you want to let Alabama play Ohio State, fine. Let LSU play Clemson. Whatever. It's fine.
Just give me.
They say a good game's on 209.
Okay.
Let's get to 209 because we're currently watching Western Kentucky, Arkansas highlights, and those are not
this is
good.
App State, South Carolina.
Oh, App State's winning. I picked App State. Did you pick App State?
I can't remember. I think I went with.
You made the comment in captions. Booms put some weight on.
He looks terrible.
The glasses and a little pudge.
Not a little pudge.
He's
put like 30 just on his waist.
How many people will LSU bring to Oxford this weekend?
30,000.
You know what that looks like?
If I'm listen, I told you this. If I'm running a restaurant on the square, a bar, I'm just turning that thing into an LSU bar. To hell with it. It's basketball.
You're gonna make your money for a week.
There's a basketball game Friday night,
Western Michigan,
and as soon as that game's over, I'm an LSU bar.
I was making a joke, but Neil basically said he would hang a flag out front.
Absolutely. I'd hang a LSU flag out front and just play that dun, 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 dun the whole weekend. Who's going to care? I mean, is there any Ole Miss fan out there that thinks, hey, we're going to win this?
I mean, anybody in the chat think Ole Miss is going to win this weekend? Got a yes anywhere? And then I need you to follow that with what your alcohol level is.
I mean, just come on. You got to make money for a weekend. They leave, and then you take the flag down, and you put your Ole Miss flag back up front.
That is a good point. We should probably run a poll on that. What's Dessler going to have as a cover this weekend? $100.
$100.
Yeah, $100.
He should.
Oh, I mean, whatever.
Make your money. Look, they're going to be happy. They just beat Alabama. They're number one in the country.
That is funny. Irie should still be open where Liggins made his commitment back in the day. I was in the building for that one. Yeah, close to some extent. I wouldn't be shocked by. I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout. But
Chargerettes have a game Friday night, home game.
The playoff opener.
Yeah, who they play?
Oxford went 10-1 and finished off the regular season with a win over Tupelo.
Yeah.
So what was the final on? What did we win?
They covered.
They covered?
Yep.
Minus 423.5?
Yeah, they won by like 600. It's phenomenal. It was embarrassing.
For the Wave?
Yeah. Those poor girls. They shouldn't have shown up.
Is Auburn going to scare Alabama?
Yes.
Are they going to win?
I have this funny feeling that yes.
Georgia or Auburn? It's Georgia, right? You're putting stock in Bo Nix, who looked awful against Ole Miss.
I've just followed this Auburn thing for years and years, and they win these games. When they're not supposed to, when their program would be better off for them not to win, they win.
But would the program be better off not to win?
Yes.
Because you just don't think Gus can get them.
Let Gus go to Arkansas. And then go get your guy, whoever that guy is. And people say, who is that? I have no idea. Yeah, I agree with Georgia Rebel when he says Georgia's meh. This is kind of what they are. They're okay. They're good. They're better than.
I still think they're better than Auburn.
How much?
Well,
it's at Auburn. It's gonna get weird. How much better?
I still think it's LSU, Bama, Georgia, Auburn, Florida.
A&M, and then this chasm.
Well, but it's just even A&M's a huge separation.
Yeah.
There's several huge separations.
Yeah,
in this
there's
thing.
1, 2 fall off, 3, 4 small fall off, 5 fall off, 6,
and then
just
chaos.
this Grand Canyon, and then after that it's like just this group of teams, all the way to 13, and then 14,
and a definite 14.
Oof. Bless their hearts.
He might go down as the worst hire in SEC history.
If he finishes the season, he's going to go 4-20
and 0-16.
0-16. 4-20.
Yeah, Fromm's just average. They've let the wrong quarterback go twice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whole different deal if they had Justin Fields and ran an offense competent to him.
Oh, the SEC championship game would be this fantastic game. Justin Fields,
they wouldn't have lost
Joe
to South
Burrow.
Carolina. Georgia's the old Clemson before they won a championship.
Maybe. What teams are looking for SEC coaches in 2020?
Well, we think Vanderbilt and Arkansas are going to make changes.
I think Mississippi State makes a change.
Okay, so that's 3.
And I think that's it.
Next year.
Barry Odom.
That was the name that was coming up.
Next year, the 2 names that immediately come to mind are Barry Odom and Matt Luke. I mean, I think Stoops is safe. Muschamp's in trouble. Like, Muschamp could be in trouble tonight, actually. And if he loses tonight and he keeps his job, he's definitely on the hot seat going in the next year. Like, really hot. That's about it.
What's the approval rating of Arkansas people with Miles on? Is that the best they can do?
Oh, I think the best they can do is the cat at Memphis. But you got to be willing to. You got to be willing to eat that.
If you're the AD, if you're Hunter Yurachek, who's already in a weird spot, already tied to Morris, already in whatever.
Well, that might be the answer.
The
answer might be that he doesn't have the authority to fire Morris because they're going to fire his ass too.
That's a good point. Is Muschamp in trouble next year with a bad year?
He might be in trouble this year.
You think he might be in trouble, really?
Sure.
Who we
Hello.
got? Hey.
Hey. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Okay. So I hear we have a topic.
I just don't like Gus Malzahn. I don't want him to come to Arkansas.
We've got an Arkansas native here on the line.
Okay.
So why? Tell me about
Yes.
it.
I just haven't liked him since he left ASU. I'm not a huge ASU fan. I went to Arkansas or I went to Fayetteville, but I have just never liked him since and I know a lot of coaches will say, yes, I'm going to stay somewhere, and then they're going to leave. But just the fact that he did that to Jonesboro and then just left for Auburn the next day when everyone knew that's what he was going to do, I just could not stand him after that.
But see, but it was a good thing because ASU there for a while was that program. They were that program to get the next coach. He wins. He takes the big job. You move on to the next person. So they had Freeze. They had Malzahn. I mean, Blake Anderson's done a pretty good job. It was that sort of transition over and over and over and over and over again because they can't leave unless they win.
So you're an Arkansas fan?
I am. That's where I went to school.
All right, let me ask you a hypothetical. Your voice indicates that you're female. So let me ask you a hypothetical question.
Rebecca.
Let's say, Rebecca, that you could at Arkansas, hypothetically, and I do mean this as hypothetically as humanly possible, hire a really good young coach, but he had a sexual assault in his background. Would you be cool with it?
No.
Okay.
Of course not.
Okay.
It's funny though. Okay, so I have a hypothetical for you in return.
Okay,
because
sure.
I was talking about this with my boyfriend earlier today. So, do either of you feel like in this society when it's all about instant gratification that we are too hard on coaches and don't give them enough time to build up a program anymore? I'm not saying that Morris has done a good job or shown improvement at all, really, but I do wonder sometimes if people expect results too quickly. What do you think about that?
The money has made people insane. Because look at decades ago or however long ago. I mean, before TV contracts and all that stuff. I mean, a guy like Frank Beamer, he sucked for years and years and years, and finally won and did this. I mean, there's been a lot of examples of that. But now, because of money, because of attendance, because of this instant gratification that is going on, people, at least in their minds, have to move. There is no more, hey, you've got maybe there is one place, but normally you don't have 5 years to try to figure it out and go from there. It just, the money has completely made people insane. There's no doubt. Because Morris,
Yeah,
look,
I was thinking about that a lot earlier today.
because look, Morris has not been good, but here's my problem with Morris is that they're not even getting better. If anything, they're getting worse, or they're staying exactly the same.
Worse.
Well, but over the course of a season, other teams get better. So you're either staying stagnant or you're getting worse, one or the other. And we all knew it was going to take a little while for him to get his system in place. It was a complete 180 from what Brett Bielema was doing under the former staff. But immediately, as soon as it starts going, there's panic. But you have to show a little bit of improvement. You have to have a pulse. And no matter what the situation is, Arkansas should not be losing to San Jose State and Western Kentucky.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And the thing is, what's kind of odd too, last year versus this year, Arkansas had flashes where it seemed like there was a chance and it got people really excited. And then this year, it's the complete opposite.
That recruiting class, even though it was still last in the SEC West, had everybody pepped up. For whatever reason, that 24th or 25th ranked recruiting class was some sort of whatever for Arkansas fans, but then they get here. And because, look, I think Morris would be safe had he just beaten San Jose State and beaten even Western Kentucky and gone 0-8. He'd had a shot.
Maybe.
1-7 for sure. He's in. 1-7, he's fine, but they've just been so bad. And he doesn't have a past history, too. It's not like you can point to something. I mean, he was 15-22 at SMU.
He's never won a Power 5 game.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Okay. Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, I do. I don't think it would take much at all to keep him safe.
Her very fast answer to my hypothetical.
It was a very fast answer. Well, I mean, it's a no-brainer for a lot of people.
Sure.
I mean, just saying.
Hypothetically, of course.
Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Will. I got through, Priscilla. Hey, I just told my wife that I got through. I'm like, I'm never going to get through, but I got through. She said have a little faith.
You did. How many times have you called tonight?
I called a lot. I think I called too much, probably. I got a problem. I don't know. I'm trying to call a podcast on Saturday night. I guess I should be doing other things, especially with the way old things playing.
It's only 8:30. It's all right. What do you want to talk about?
Well, no, I'm in D.C. I'm in the D.C. metro, so it's actually 9:30 something. So yeah, I'm an hour ahead. So yeah, I'm just so she won't even put on speakerphone. She can hear it. Say hi.
Okay. Hey, how are you?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm good. But like I told her, say I don't.
I was talking to your wife.
Sorry, kind of. Oh.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I don't drink, so don't ask me where I'm Mormon. You know we don't drink, so yeah. And I'm from Jackson actually. I just live up here in the DC metro area, so work brought me over here. But anyway, love the show. And I want to say I don't know what to talk about because this is the first time I ever called into a show ever in my life, so it's a pretty cool thing. But I do got to say, as far as my topic, I guess I heard somebody say that. Well, I guess one of y'all said like the worst hire in the SEC ever. I kind of think the worst hire was probably Brett Bielema because, and maybe this is like I'm reaching here, but for someone to try to do what Nick Saban does, but you don't have the talent because he was so old school and that old school method is so backwards now, to try to recover from that it's gonna take some doing, I think. So if you try to play that old school 1980s on football, it's going to take a while. So I think Chad Moore, I know he was going to fail. And I think whoever they hired, they could have hired Lane Kiffin, anybody. You know, Lane Kiffin coming off of what he did at Alabama with Blake Sims, anybody. With what Brett Bielema left over, you can't have a bunch of three-star talent trying to play Alabama football. And then the next guy come in, you got a bunch of guys on your team who were recruited to play old school football, and you're trying to catch up in the SEC. If that makes any sense.
I get what you're saying. And look, Arkansas, that was the flaw in this, is that you can beat a lot of Big Ten teams at Wisconsin with knowing your identity, knowing what you are, sticking to that, allowing a program to develop, much like we talk about doesn't happen anymore, and seeing what happens. Arkansas does not have a lot of talent in its home state from a recruiting standpoint, and he was never able to really build an identity that worked. It was always forced. it quit too early, like we mentioned a second ago. And you're right. You can't out Alabama. You can't do the exact same thing with inferior players and beat them.
No.
Or the old Alabama, I guess, in a lot of ways.
LSU out Alabama tonight.
Very similar styles. LSU was just better.
Yeah.
LSU has a more disruptive defense, and they have a better quarterback.
And receivers made plays, and that running back was a stud.
Yeah, and I do want to say, I think I'm in the camp here. I know you all were saying how Ed Orgeron, he evolved as a coach after so long, and he failed at Ole Miss, and he went to USC, and, I think he was in and out there for a little bit, and they didn't hire him. He was pretty upset, and he was trying to find his way as a head coach for a little while. And, he had a record as a good recruiter, but he could never find his niche, and, he came to Ole Miss and failed. And I think I'm kind of in the same boat with Lane. I've always been in the camp where I think Lane Kiffin could probably win at Ole Miss, because some coaches only you fit in where you can. And I think with what he learned from Nick Saban, and I know he hasn't really made a lot of noise down there in Florida, or at USC, but I think him and Ed Orgeron kind of had that same path maybe, but he kind of found himself with Nick Saban, and Ed kind of found himself at LSU where he can delegate better, like be a CEO. So I think with the recruiting base that we have in Mississippi, and with all the skill talent we got there, like the skill players, the wide receivers, and the running backs that we do, I think that if he put together good staff and, just delegate it and put in what he learned from Saban, I think he could make a killing at Ole Miss. I'm pretty sure that's probably not a very popular opinion, but, I just think he would make sense there. So
Neil wrote a column about Lane Kiffin one time.
I did. The day that Ole Miss hired Matt Luke, I said, go for it. Still think it would be a smart.
You think he'll be a successful Power 5 coach one day?
I think there's high risk, high reward.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. I know people in the coaching fraternity who believe that Lane Kiffin will do really well at his next job.
Okay. Good enough.
Okay. Yeah, but it's been great calling. I'll just hang up and listen to everybody else.
Yeah, appreciate it, bud. Thanks. So you think Lane's going to get a gig?
At some point, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody will. He's fallen out of favor because he's just been sort of average at FAU.
Yeah, but there's a chance that FAU's just
an average program.
Average is as good as you can be.
That's what they've been. Schnellenberger was okay there at one point.
Yeah.
Wasn't that right?
Yeah, he was okay. It was a long way. God, is Howard Schnellenberger still alive?
I don't know. I'm sure somebody can tell us.
Hey, Siri, is Howard Schnellenberger still alive?
I think so.
He's 85. Good for him.
A lot of people mention Bronco Mendenhall a lot. You're not a fan?
He's okay. It's not the route I would go.
It's an Alabama number that's called a couple times, and I couldn't get to you because I was on the line. If you'd like to call back, I'll be happy to take the call. We've gotten a lot of Alabama calls over the weeks.
Yeah, we're big in Alabama. We didn't used to be, but we're better now.
You think so?
Yeah. Birmingham, Mobile.
We do okay there, yeah. No, that's not the Alabama number. So what's going to happen is we're going to take this call,
and then
the Alabama number is going to call, and it's not going to work. But sometimes it life's not fair. Sometimes that's just the fact of the matter. All right, caller, who we got?
This is Ben.
Ben, how are you?
Hey, Ben.
All right. So I was a student at Ole Miss. I was in the student section in the north end zone. I was in the pavilion. I've been to right field. I have the unpopular opinion that the best environment out of those three was the pavilion.
Hang on, do what now?
How old? The best environment in terms of the students was Ole Miss basketball.
Okay.
Even more than right field with alcohol.
Okay.
Free alcohol student section with the pavilion. How old is Kermit Davis right now?
59, I think.
That's right. That's roughly right. Yeah.
So he's probably at like 10 years max.
Sure.
For sake of the conversation, I'll let you go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Say he pulls a Bruce Pearl Is there any chance Ole Miss outgrows Pavilion? Ever?
I mean, I don't like the word ever, but does Ole Miss outgrow the Pavilion in the next 10 years? No.
Well, here's the thing, too. The Pavilion is right from a matter of it has the right amount of seating. It has the right amount of club seating and premium seating to make some money. And if it fills up and you need whatever, it means it's a tough ticket, which is a good thing.
Sure.
Because Ole Miss is in a really weird spot from a midweek basketball standpoint, from a basketball fan base anyway, because it's not in an urban area. You've got, even from Memphis, it's an hour and 30 minutes to drive to games.
Yeah.
Jackson's 2.5, depending on where you are, to drive up. There's just not enough a central location to fill that thing up every night. So in a lot of ways, you want to make it a little more of a premium ticket. You want it to be the size it is now, even if maybe in your head you go, hey, there are days where we could put twice as many in there.
Yeah, sure.
Well, it seems like for 90% of games when I was there, the student section was packed because it's free, and there was maybe 1,000 general admission fans. So it's just, this is back when Andy Kennedy was there, so it was a decent environment. Like the Georgia Tech NIT game was fun, but other than that, a couple of conference games.
That NIT game,
nice.
That NIT game was one of Andy's most missed chances because everybody had really gotten back in that night.
Oh yeah, the loss to Georgia Tech.
That was as consequential as an NIT game can possibly be for a program.
I definitely agree, and I think that's kind of helped lead to the next season when the team fell apart. So.
Yeah, there's a lot there, but yeah.
So, and then just back to football. Should I be optimistic that the team is better? They're just losing every game, or pessimistic that they can't win a game that
Well, I mean, from a program standpoint, you're much better off with the current thing because you have the ability to win the game. If it's the other way, you're Arkansas and you just suck.
Yeah, I have an easy answer for that. You should absolutely be optimistic that the team is getting better and that they're closer and they're recruiting at a higher level than they were pre-sanctioned stuff. And then it's going to go one of two ways next year. They're either going to win some of these games and everyone's going to get excited, or they're going to lose these games and you're going to have a coaching search. There's no in between.
Well, see, I'm one of the rare people that think if you give Matt Luke a chance, if Rich Rod stays and McIntyre stays, if Plumlee can throw it down the middle of the field, Burrow's gone, Tua's gone. I mean, Auburn may be better, but they lose a lot of defense. Ole Miss could, if Plumlee can throw the ball, Ole Miss could win 8 games next year.
That's a huge if, but yeah.
I want to see the end of spring practice. I've said for weeks now, that's what I want to see. I want to see the end of spring practice for Plumlee.
You want to see if he can recognize a curveball? Is that what you're saying? And hit the ball to the opposite field? And
I'm saying that there's going to be some development for him as a quarterback by the start of fall camp next year. And that's what I want to see. And then I think I can make a better judgment on Plumlee's ceiling as a college quarterback at that point. I'm still giving him a little benefit of the doubt because he only got here in June. He didn't go through spring like some of his other guys. He was swimming all whatever. It's still relatively new, and I think he has a mechanical issue. So let's get that fixed and see where it goes from there. That's my thing. I'm not saying it's going to work or it's not going to work, but I do think there is a timetable that you'll have a much better idea of what you have with him at quarterback.
I think the key thing is to get his foot down before the swing, Get your foot down. Recognize the breaking pitch.
So if Matt Luke is a coach, are Rich Rod and McIntyre back? Like 75. What are the odds?
I think Mac is going to have some head coaching opportunities if he wants them.
Yeah, I'm not prepared to answer that either way. I just don't know.
All right. That's it.
Cool. Thanks.
Look at Tennessee. Tennessee has taken a lead over Kentucky.
But are they covering?
Well, it's still mid part of the third quarter.
Well, I didn't say did they cover. I said are they covering?
Tennessee's the underdog.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh. Really? What is that area code? All right, this one's going to be new. I don't know what this is.
Okay.
All right, who do we have on the line and where are you?
Hey guys, it's Marv calling back from earlier. I'm in South Georgia.
Oh, that's
I
South
was
Georgia.
gonna call a little update. I'm from the Mississippi Delta originally. Met a girl when I was at Ole Miss, and you know how love works.
I heard that story recently about a high-profile person. Go ahead.
Well, for my recent call, I haven't made a drink yet, but I'm now working on Old Forester 1920, the Prohibition style. I have since trimmed my brisket, and it is the most overwhelming thing. I will never do 18 pounds of meat ever again.
Oh, you did it yourself. You didn't have the butcher trim it?
No, I thought I wanted to try something new, and I've done flats several times, but I was like, yeah, screw it, I'll buy the whole packer.
Yeah,
I can
that'll
do this.
never be a try something new thing. I'll let somebody else that knows what they're doing handle that. And by the way, that is my least favorite Old Forester of that group. The 1897 bottled and bond is my favorite. The 1920 is my least favorite.
It's really good. I haven't tried the 1910, the Old Fine. I heard people go crazy over it. It's at my store. I just hadn't made my way to it yet.
Okay. What town are you in? Somebody's asking.
Ooh, man, I can't give that information
Is that
out.
too close? That small of a town?
It's fairly small.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I have bumped into Jimmy Carter fairly recently. I'll say that.
Did you
Did
you knock him
draw your
down?
own conclusions? No, I'm not the cause of the stitches. For I heard I was listening to the G pitch from 2 weeks ago about all the Patriot Act stuff. No, that was not me. To everybody listening.
So what time are you putting this thing on? Did I miss that?
I don't know. I'm probably in the next 10 or 15
And then
minutes.
you're gonna have like one more drink and then like be blackout and go to bed.
Pretty
Let
much.
it go.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I at least postpone the show for long enough for me to get this thing on the grill and make another drink. So I know the calls seem to be a little bit dwindling, so I wanted to make sure I postpone the ending. Maybe give you all another shot to make one more drink for the road.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, y'all be good.
Yeah, I think I'm probably at the point too where one more and I may not be able to get out of here. I think
We've been going a while.
I think I'm probably good at this point.
I think the next two hand raised guys are going to be fascinating shows.
You really do, don't you?
Yep.
You have that feeling?
Well, I think next week's going to be just kind of crazy, and then the state game week is going to be nutty. I'm braced for the worst.
Who's calling?
Hey, this is Roy and Amanda from Huntsville. What's up?
What's up, Roy? What's up, Amanda?
What's up?
What's up?
Trying to combo call you on this one, man.
Yeah.
I'm just, y'all always talk about attendance and everything for this game, and when I was growing up with her, I first started, following Ole Miss football during Billy Brewer's first season in '83. And this is probably the first week where I really didn't even care about the game. I knew they were playing. I was following a little bit, listening to David Kellum on the radio. We had some we live in Huntsville, Alabama, so we had a few people over, and we were watching LSU and Alabama football, and I was just like casually following the Ole Miss game. And it's really the first time I could really tell that, we were just barely even watching the game, and it was 7-0 or 33-0 or whatever it was, and I really didn't even care. And it's really the point that I got in my life that, it really didn't even matter that much to me. And that's kind of sad from my point of view because I've never really even missed a game. And I was just calling in to, talk to y'all about, the attitude of the fan base and everything like that. We can always all tell that, things have gone down and everything. We're looking for bright points in the season and, trying to go forward and everything like that. But what are y'all's perspective on, like, next week going into the LSU game? What do you really think the chances of, after watching them play Alabama this week, what's it going to take to even keep that game close, like 3 or 4 turnovers, or what do you really think? What do you think?
To compete in the LSU game?
I'm like speechless right now, because I'm not even used to being this way because I've always followed it for my whole life.
Yeah, I don't.
And now I'm just like searching for something.
Turnovers, lots of turnovers.
Yeah, like 7.
Lots of big plays.
Yeah, you're not beating LSU.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not.
Well, I know I'm not going to beat them or nothing. I'm just like, trying to be a fly in the ointment or something like that, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could catch them on the letdown of letdowns.
The most catatonic of catatonic days.
Yeah. That's what I was telling my buddy a little while ago. Look for
And
the letdown
in
of
all
the century
seriousness,
next weekend or
all
something.
seriousness, 5 turnovers and a Joe Burrow injury.
Yeah,
Burrow gets
I know.
hurt.
I'm just looking for something to make me want to watch the game next week and be optimistic.
Watch the Heisman winner.
Yeah, just
hang out. Don't overcomplicate it.
Admire their talent level and frankly, watch Joe Burrow and they're
try and keep it close.
Are you a dedicated
Hey,
fan,
we got
Amanda?
a first down. Hey, we got like 100 yards rushing. Hey, Plumlee broke a 20-yard run.
Amanda, are you a dedicated fan?
But also, I am. But also, I
Is
call
Amanda?
because my wife is like she's a brand new real estate agent in Huntsville. And she's doing really good, knocking out of the park.
No free ads.
She sold like 14 or 15 houses.
She should
And I was
advertise.
going to ask. That's what I was going to ask about, Neil.
Yeah.
How do I get my wife Amanda on the podcast as a sponsor?
Just get in touch with me first part of the week. You can do it. Amanda can do it. We can work something out. It's a growing part of the
All right,
country.
she's right here. She wants to talk.
Okay.
She wants to talk.
No, I was just watching you guys on the TV. My husband listens to you regularly, and I think y'all are a trip. I love it. I am definitely a Mississippi girl, born and raised in Jones County, but we've been in Huntsville for 6 years. And anyway, just nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you too, Amanda.
Do you ever listen to us, or just your husband?
I do.
Okay.
No, I listen to y'all too.
We go on road trips, and I put y'all on.
So like
and she's,
secondary
like,
listens,
laughing the
not
whole
primary
time.
listens.
I still listen. I listen.
It
and I think
counts.
y'all are hilarious.
It counts. It's okay.
She listens to G-Pits too, and it like trips her out.
Well, that's a little
It's good stuff though,
All
man.
right.
I appreciate it.
I like how real y'all are, for sure.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Neil, I gotta ask you, what do you think about the Peloton?
Oh, don't start.
I'm a big fan. It's a great
I see
machine.
I see your shirt.
Yeah, it's a great
I see
machine.
your shirt.
You should
I definitely need to.
You should get one. We can exchange cyber high fives.
Awesome. Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Cyber high fives.
Yeah.
Are you giving more of those or less of those?
I had a milestone ride the other day, so I got a bunch. I had ride number 600.
How many is that a day? Is that more than one a day?
No, I basically do one a day.
But is that average more or less than one a day?
I don't know.
Caller, who's on?
Hey, man, it's Michael Tupelo.
Michael, how are you?
Doing well, man. Hey, I watch you guys every day, man. You're a part of my day. I love your show.
Appreciate it. Did you go to the game today?
No, I didn't
No?
go to the game. I watched it on the TV there. It was too depressing for me. I didn't have a box to put over my head in case we lost.
You didn't think the $2 on StubHub for 50-yard line was a good enough deal to get you over here from the 50 minutes away?
Yeah, that is a good deal, but that's just, I think, reflective of how terrible we are that we got a $2. But I was at the Louisiana Tech game and, in fact, put a box over my head along with a bear. So.
Okay. What do you want to talk about tonight?
Well, let me ask you. I'm sitting here. Shamefully, I'm watching Liberty play.
Okay.
And I'm like, Hugh Freeze, you bastard. He gave me some of the greatest moments, and then he tore us down. But here's what I want to ask you guys. Do you think that Hugh Freeze influenced Alabama and LSU? Because we beat them. They hired our guys. They said, hey, this style is beating us. And so they hired our guys, and they implemented what we're doing. And now we're going back to some style that's totally, not what we were. I mean, we were effective in beating them. So, do you think that Hugh Freeze influenced them? I don't know.
I'll just
let
Yeah, that's fine. We'll talk about that. I don't think styles beat Alabama. I think quarterbacks who can throw the ball down the football field beat Alabama.
Thank you.
That's what I think. I think
Ole Miss beat Alabama once with a really balanced team, and then they beat
because
Alabama,
Chad Kelly was on the field.
and they were very good defensively. And then the second year they beat Alabama because Chad Kelly and a dynamic offensive attacked them vertically.
Yeah, you go back and look through it. It's quarterbacks who have big days and throw the ball down the football field.
Yeah, it's the whole gimmicky thing. That was just Freeze's. That was Freeze's deal of we recruit a different kind of kid crap. No, you didn't. You won with quarterbacks.
Yeah, Chad almost did it again, and they gave up tons of points and couldn't hold a lead in 16.
Yeah, almost won that game.
They were up 20 whatever to 3 or whatever it was. I don't
LSU
remember.
beat them today throwing the ball down the field.
Yeah, that's a good point. Wide receivers beat Bama too.
Of course.
Big-time wide receivers.
Yeah, LSU has big-time wide receivers, like 5 of them.
Yeah. In 2014, Ole Miss did lead the nation in scoring defense. They had a hell of a defense.
Yeah.
In 14.
Yeah. Mike
they
Hilton
shut Blake Sims down.
Mike Hilton and Simquez
Because one of the
Golson.
touchdowns was the cheap missed face mask on Octavius Mathers.
Yeah, no, they were dominant defensively.
Yeah, we talked about the Arkansas game at length with our friend Rebecca and just by herself.
I think we've taken it.
You think we've covered it?
I think we've taken it to the limit.
Have you?
There's a song like "Take It to the Limit."
No.
Back in the day.
In 14, they lost to LSU in Baton Rouge, Arkansas,
Auburn,
and Auburn.
The Treadwell game.
Yeah. Was there another one?
Georgia Tech. No.
No.
They lost in Atlanta to
TCU. Talk about a no-show.
Yeah. They practiced at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, okay. I should know the TCU thing. I mean, we spent a week there. That was when Jeffrey got on the bus with the TCU intern and was going through Tinder and scarred her for life.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was the only TCU person on our media bus headed to the go-kart track with nothing but Ole Miss people and Jeffrey flipping through Tinder a couple seats in front of her, and she did not react well to that at all.
No, she didn't.
Yeah.
In fairness to her, I get it.
Georgia Tech beat State that year in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
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 That is.
'Cause that was that night, the same night after Ole Miss had gotten demolished.
I actually called the end of that game back at home. As soon as we got done, I left, got in the car, and drove back.
Laura and I found some pizza place in Atlanta that was really good, and we watched it.
I was done. I'd been there for a week. It was time to get out of Atlanta. I was completely finished by that point.
We got up the next morning, went home.
Yeah. So appreciate it, guys. Not got any more calls at the moment. We'll cut it there. Back next week for probably some hilarity. Probably a pretty good show. I have a hunch. After LSU, we'll be here, and then for the state game, we'll do a pregame and a postgame, and we'll settle in with some pie maybe and some alcohol and see what Thanksgiving brings for us that night. So plenty of coverage at rebelgrove.com. Back with our podcast on Monday morning as always, and take care. Appreciate it.